6 Republicans on the ballot. And my loser is Attorney General Chris Carr for his support of a lawsuit challenging the Savannah Ordinance, which seeks to impose penalties for residents when firearms are stolen from unlocked vehicles. They're trying to keep their city safe and reduce stolen guns, and Chris Carr is standing in the way of that.
All right, you got one more?
Well, real quick, I think we all agree with this. Just all the kids that are going back to school, some went back last week, some going this week. So parents, kids, congratulations.
Teachers, administrators.
Yeah,
that's right.
I know everybody's ready to get back to school, but the summer went by too fast.
It sure did. And I've got one. Peter Panos, happy birthday. He's a dear friend, and he celebrated a milestone birthday this past week. So happy birthday to you. We'll see you all next week. Make it a great one. Well, hello guys, good morning. Welcome to Fox Local and to our stream. I'm Judea Murray. I'm going to be your host for the next couple of hours. We do have some breaking news and some live updates that we'll get to you later on in the show. Just to give you a quick rundown of what some of those are, we will be talking about the latest in that CDC shooting that left an officer dead, as well as the suspect. We will also be talking about Georgia universities that are going back to school, and how that's affecting some of the students coming in. We'll have a live look on the campus of Georgia Tech a little later on in the show. But first, let's get you a look at your forecast with our meteorologist, Alex Forbes. Alex, what's going on in the skies today?
Yeah, Judea, a lot of cloud cover and even some drizzle out there across metro Atlanta right now. We are looking at that in various spots. I was just out in DeKalb County and saw the drizzle myself, so this isn't necessarily telling the full picture, right? We are still seeing that in some spots at this hour. 73 in Atlanta, 70 over in Canton, 68 in Gainesville, 70 in Clayton. Across the southeast, yeah, a lot of rain down there along the coast. They've seen some flooding problems, places like Charleston over towards Hilton Head, Tybee Island, and into the Savannah area. But that's a them thing. As for us, we're going to be looking at a lot of cloud cover, about a 20% chance of rain through the afternoon and into the evening. Temperatures there in the low to mid 80s, sunset at 8:29 tonight. Here's how it looks on that hour-by-hour forecast. You see just a couple of scattered showers. I do expect the cloud cover, though, to fill in a little more than what you see depicted here on this model. Then through the overnight and into tomorrow morning, we are going to be hanging on to the shower activity. So I would expect some wet bus stops in a handful of places. Not many spots, but still some across the metro Atlanta area. And then for the afternoon, yeah, that rain chance is going to continue at about 40% through the day. An update on the tropics for you. 'Tis the season to be looking out to the west. A 20% chance of development with this area of disturbed weather. That's going to be moving up towards the north. Not too concerned about that. But what I am watching is this pretty good looking wave that just rolled off the coast of Africa. The models are fairly certain on developing it. An 80% chance as it moves across the Atlantic. And so we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. The next name on the list is Aaron. We're going to be talking more about this coming up in just a little bit. But first, your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. There it is. A 20% chance of rain today. 40% for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Likely a couple more storms there on Tuesday. And then Judea back closer to average with a high temperature of 90 by the time we get to Friday.
All right, Alex, it looks decent to me. I mean, do I want rain and the possibility of rain in our forecast? No, but I will take we're getting back a little warmer, but not too hot.
Right.
Sounds good to me. All right, we will be back out with Alex a little later on in our show for another look at your forecast. But I did mention that we have been following that deadly CDC shooting here in Atlanta. So let me get you some of the updates on what we now know about this particular incident. we learned yesterday afternoon, actually right here live on this stream, the identity of the man who's been accused in that deadly shooting near Emory University, and the CDC, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, identified him as 30-year-old Patrick Joseph White from Kennesaw. And we also were able to get out there near his, in his neighborhood, and we spoke to one of his neighbors, but as our reporters have been covering this story, we know that a memorial is growing outside the CDC building in honor of the fallen DeKalb County police officer David Rose. We learned that David Rose was a father of two. He was only 33 years old, and he was also expecting his third child with his beloved wife. So unfortunately, that means he left behind that wife, the two kids, and the one on the way. Officer Rose graduated from the DeKalb County Police Academy just a couple of months ago. He had joined the DeKalb County Police Department only in September of 2024. He was still fresh, but he was the class leader. We actually have his full graduation speech in which he was also honored. Let's take a listen in on his words of encouragement.
I would now like to introduce the class leader for Class 138, David Rose.
Good morning, everyone. Honored guests, family, friends, instructors, and most importantly, my fellow graduates of Academy Class 138. Today is a day we will never forget. Today we stand here as a proud few who made it through one of the most challenging, demanding, and life-changing experiences of our lives. When we first walked through those academy doors, we were 12 individuals from different backgrounds, different stories, and different walks of life. Some of us came from military service, some from college, some from different careers entirely. Some of us have dreamed of this moment since childhood, while others found this path later in life. But we had one thing in common. We wanted to serve. We wanted to be part of something greater than ourselves. We wanted to wear the badge, not for the sake of a title, but for the responsibility that comes with it. And responsibility is exactly what this job demands. From the very first day, we learned that policing isn't just about enforcing the law. It's about protecting the vulnerable, standing for justice, and being the person who runs towards danger when others run away. We learned that the badge we will wear isn't just a piece of metal, it's a symbol of trust, of duty, of sacrifice. It represents not just us, but every officer who came before us and every officer that will come after us. The role here was anything but easy. We faced early mornings, long nights, we endured physical exhaustion, endless drills, and tests that pushed our minds to the limit. We learned to function under pressure, to operate as a unit, and to trust each other when it mattered the most. We were broken down and built back up, stronger, sharper, and more prepared than we ever thought possible. There were moments when we doubted ourselves, moments when we wondered if we had what it took. But in those moments, we found something more powerful than fear. We found each other. We found strength in the person next to us, and the instructors who pushed us beyond our limits, and the loved ones who remained with us while we started the journey in the first place. But we also faced loss. Along the way, 5 of our brothers and sisters could not continue the journey with us. It wasn't because they weren't capable. It wasn't because they didn't want it enough. The path isn't for everyone, and that's what makes it today so meaningful. Those who started with us, who trained with us, who bled and sweat with us, they are still part of our story. They are part of Class 138, and today we carry them with us. Through it all, one person stood out as a guiding force, a mentor, and sometimes a voice in our heads that we didn't want to hear but needed to. Instructor Jones. Sir, you pushed us beyond our limits. You demanded the best from us when we thought we had nothing left to give. You didn't just teach us how to be officers, you showed us what it means to wear this uniform with honor, integrity, and accountability. You reminded us that this job isn't about power, it's about service. It's about standing between chaos and order, it's about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. There were moments when we thought you were too hard on us, when we were exhausted, when you made us repeat drills over and over, when we thought we had already given everything we had. But now, as we stand here today, we understand you weren't just training us to pass the test, you are preparing us for the reality of this job. You are making sure that when we step out onto these streets, we are ready. Then when someone calls for help, we don't hesitate. That when things get tough, and they will, we don't break. For that, we owe you more than just thanks. We owe you our commitment to uphold the values you instilled in us. Today, we are not just 6 officers, we are 6 brothers and sisters, forged in struggle, united in purpose. We leave here knowing no matter what challenges come our way, we will face them together. Just as we have since day one, this is more than a career, it's a calling. And today, we answer that call. To our families and loved ones, thank you. Thank you for the patience, the encouragement, and the sacrifices that you made so we can pursue this calling. The late nights, the missed family events, the stress you carried as we pushed through. This academy, we know it wasn't easy on you either, but you stood by us. You lifted us up when we needed it, and you remind us why we started this journey. We couldn't be standing here without any of you. To my fellow graduates, Academy Class 138, we made it. We are ready, but our journey is just beginning. From this day forward, we carry the weight of this badge with pride, with humility, and with unwavering commitment to serve and protect. So as we step into this new chapter, let's remember why we're here. Let's remember what it took to get us here. Let's not forget that we are stronger together. Congratulations, Class 138. Stay safe, stay strong, and always watch each other's 6.
And you guys, you heard right there, he took his duty seriously. The fact that, he knew he was out there to protect and serve, and that is what our officials have been telling us, that he went into that situation knowing that he was there to protect others around him, and unfortunately he did lose his life. We learned that DeKalb County will now be honoring his life with lowering of the flags. Actually, if you are out there in the county, you may have noticed that they're flying at half staff. This is at all DeKalb County official buildings. And again, let me tell you a little bit more about Officer Rose. He graduated from that police academy. You heard his speech back in March. He also served 4 years in the Marine Corps. Now we're expected to get memorial details soon. As soon as we do, we'll try to get them out to you, hopefully live on this stream. But if not, it will be available for you on fox5atlanta.com as well as Fox Local. Yesterday, I mentioned a quote from, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought, Mr. Rogers. And it is actually one of my favorite quotes because it helps me get through our job on days where things are a little harder. He said that when he was a little boy, his mom once told him that, when you see scary things in the news, look out for the helpers because there will always be helpers. Officer Rose was one of those helpers, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the community continues to come together for his family, for his friends, and for his colleagues. As we mentioned before, Officer Rose left behind 2 children, 1 on the way, and his wife. So we'll get you those details as soon as we can. And also, officials have been mourning him publicly. We actually have a couple of statements from Mayor Andre Dickens. We also have Governor Kemp, but I'll read you Kemp's first. So now Kemp's mentioned that twice this week, deranged criminals have targeted innocent Georgians. Each time, brave first responders rush toward the danger to subdue the shooter and save lives, reminding us of just how crucial they are. I'm just reading that statement in part. He did have a much longer tweet there on X. We'll also go over to Andre Dickens, Atlanta's mayor. He said, Officer Rose bravely responded to the active shooter incident on Emory's campus and lost his life while protecting so many others. We grieve alongside his family. My heart goes out to the entire DeKalb County government and police department. Officer Rose's passing is a stark reminder that every day, law enforcement officers put themselves in harm's way to protect others, and this dedication deserves our respect and gratitude. And again, that's just an excerpt from a much longer statement that Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens has given us. But back to what Governor Kemp said. In his tweet, he mentioned that this was the second time that it has happened in a week. And if you may recall, 3 people were wounded on Fort Stewart. And we want to get you an update on that situation. So As I mentioned, 3 people had been injured. They had been hospitalized. We did learn that they are well on their way to recovery, but the person accused in that shooting was identified as 28-year-old Army Sergeant Cornelius Radford. He's been booked into the Liberty County Jail. We learned a little bit more about what may have been his motive in the case. The New York Times has reported that he sent a goodbye text to his aunt moments before the shooting. They also reported that Radford was allegedly bullied in 2018 over an alleged stutter. Now, back to the victims in this case, we can keep our focus there. Thankfully, those soldiers are expected to survive. So far, we, Fox 5 Atlanta, have not identified a clear motive in this particular attack. But again, the New York Times is saying that he was potentially bullied. Radford will be tried by the Army Office of Special Trial Counsel. We had a picture of him right there for you. All right, you guys, coming back into the station, I appreciate you guys for streaming with us. Like I said, we have a lot of stories that we will be covering during my about 3.5 hours with you. So make sure you hit our YouTube chat. Let us know what stories you're looking forward to, what questions you all have, because we do have our reporters out. We'll try to get you some answers to those questions. And we'll have that as soon as we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox Local. Again, my name is Judea Murray. Here's some of the topics that we will be talking about on this live stream. So thank you guys for joining us. We are going to go over the latest in that CDC shooting that killed an officer and also left the suspect dead. We'll also be talking about a small plane crash out in DeKalb County. We have exclusive video that shows the moments that plane came down and one of the survivors, fortunately, everyone in that crash survived, just some were injured. But one of those survivors actually emerged from the plane. We'll also be going over back to school for Georgia colleges, when they'll be heading back, and getting to talk to some of the students who are actually moving in on campus right now. But let's focus on that small plane crash in DeKalb County. Again, we have, look at this new exclusive video. You see that man in the center of your screen. He's actually coming up out of that plane that just crashed. This happened near the DeKalb Peachtree Airport overnight. It's video, again, that you're only going to see here on Fox 5 Atlanta and with Fox Local. This scene was just before about 12:30 a.m. yesterday morning on Claremont Road in 9th Street. 3 people were involved. 2 were injured critically, but as you can see, that third person was able to get himself up out of the wreckage. It was incredible to see. Everybody here in the newsroom, our mouths just were dropped and open when we got that video into the station. It's one of those things you can't believe it unless you see it. The other 2 passengers, as I mentioned, are in critical condition, but we're told that they are already conscious, alert, and they are still breathing. The cause of this crash is still under investigation. We're still working to learn a little bit more about that. Now, you guys, the FBI is letting people know that they should be aware of card skimmers. When you're out shopping or you're out at the ATM and you think you're putting in your card and you're safe, they're letting you know that around here in the Metro Atlanta area, you may not be. We got a report that said from East Point to downtown, Forest Park, College Park, the Secret Service, the USDA, and more are looking into this for us. So if you're unfamiliar, skimmers, they've been attached secretly to debit card keypads, and they're designed to steal your money. So again, you might be at the ATM, you might be at the gas station, you put your card in thinking that you're paying for your service, and you don't even know that somebody has taken your information. Now, yes, it's happening in Metro Atlanta, but this is actually a nationwide effort. And the FBI has already turned up at least 40 skimmers at this time. Right now, it looks like the Metro Atlanta area is actually the 2nd most common place to find skimmers. We're only behind New York City. So the Secret Service let us know what the skimmers look like, what to look out for, but most of them are really easy for you to miss because they look like the real deal. You wouldn't know unless you wouldn't know unless it happened to you and then you saw the repercussions afterward. Unfortunately, they say that sometimes this can be an inside job, but thankfully that's not very common. If you can say thankfully about that, usually it is just a bad actor out there that wants your information. But I wanted to let you know a little bit more about that. So we are going to come back into the studio real quick. I'm going to get you guys a quick break. When we come back, we will be talking a little bit more about the breaking news that I'll let you know about at the top of the show. And then we're going to try to get out there with our photojournalist, Eli Jordan, who's been at Georgia Tech for their back to school. But we'll have more after this. Guys, welcome back in. Again, I told you we were going to get another look at some of the latest information that we have on that CDC shooting. We did learn that businesses in the area were on high alert. Not only after they heard the gunshots were they fearful for themselves, but we also learned that some of these businesses were welcoming to the people out on the street. They knew that they would be in trouble if they stayed outside. So one of the businesses that we stopped by, we spoke to a Jason R. Klein. He says he's grateful that he wasn't around when the gunman started shooting from inside the CVS, but his coworker and manager at the General Muir restaurant down the street took video of the gunshots. And once they knew that it was an active shooter situation, they were told to lock down the deli. Now, as he and the employees were locking up, they noticed people outside and they rushed to bring them to shelter in place with them. Let's take a listen at what they had to say.
There's a lady who just got off the bus, she was saying, and she was in a panic. She was trying to run towards the parking garage over there, but my executive chef signaled her to come inside because, you know, you're hearing gunshots everywhere. You want to make sure she's safe too, so you don't want to, you know, have her getting harmed. There's another guy who was outside too, who was walking around. I'd signal him to come inside just to make sure they were safe as well. My deepest condolences go out to the wife and the family of that gentleman. I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Like, you know, they lost a hero. You know, he was trying to protect.
Yes, he was trying to protect. We gave you some information on Officer David Rose, that is his name, the fallen officer from DeKalb County Police. Just to recap some of that information for you, Officer David Rose had just joined the DeKalb County Police Department as of, I believe it was September 2024, and had graduated just this past May. Rose also gave a speech. We'll listen to it in a second, but first I want to let you know that he was only 33 years old. We are told that he left behind his beloved wife, left behind 2 children and 1 child on the way. His wife was pregnant. The DeKalb County Police and other DeKalb County officials say that at their buildings out there, the flags will be flown at half staff. But again, I mentioned that he graduated only just this past March. We have a clip of his graduation speech. I want to play that for you guys in full. Take a listen.
We wanted to be part of something greater than ourselves. We wanted to wear the badge, not for the sake of a title, but for the responsibility that comes with it. And responsibility is exactly what this job demands. From the very first day, we learned that policing isn't just about enforcing the law. It's about protecting the vulnerable, standing for justice, and being the person who runs towards danger when others run away.
And that is exactly what Officer Rose did there when danger struck out, when the shooting began. He took his job seriously, went in there to make sure that no one else would be hurt. Unfortunately, that does also mean that he lost his life. But the community has been mourning him greatly. We actually had some word from our leaders. We'll start with a tweet from Mayor Andre Dickens. I'll read it to you just in part because this is just an excerpt. But Andre Dickens said, Officer Rose bravely responded to the active shooter incident on Emory's campus and lost his life while protecting so many others. So we grieve alongside his family. My heart goes out to the entire DeKalb County government and the police department. Officer Rose's passing is a stark reminder that every day law enforcement officers put themselves in harm's way to protect others, and this dedication deserves our respect and our gratitude. We also saw a tweet from our Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. He said twice this week, deranged criminals have targeted innocent Georgians. Each time, brave first responders rush toward the danger to subdue the shooter and save lives, reminding us of just how crucial they are. Marty, the girls, and I are thankful for all those who answer the call to serve and who protect their fellow Georgians. We ask that you join us in holding them in our prayers, along with those harmed this evening near the CDC Center. Coming back into the studio, just like they said, everybody has been labeling Officer Rose as brave, as selfless. Again, we told you that the community is in full mourning and that DeKalb County has lowered their flags. They're flying their flags at half staff. We're waiting for some more information on when a potential memorial or some sort of vigil could take place. We also haven't heard anything yet on a service. Of course, this is something that is still very new, still very much so fresh. But yesterday, one of our reporters was out in the neighborhood where we believe that the suspect in this CDC shooting lived. We actually got to speak to his neighbor. I want to play you that sound really quickly. He said he knew him.
I seen him walking around the neighborhood. Seemed like a okay guy. I mean, communicated with him a few times. I know he did work for my grandfather around the house, like blowing leaves, cutting the grass, stuff like that. But I didn't really know him too much to comment on his character. But from what I've seen outside the house, he seems like a okay guy. I don't know what his motive would have been. I don't know if he knows anybody up there. Maybe did him wrong. I couldn't tell you that, but just from what I know about him, he seemed like an alright guy.
Mm-hmm. And again, you don't have any indication or any idea why he would be in that area?
I had zero clue, and when I seen the cops, I was wondering what was going on, and they finally talked to my dad, and I was like, there's no way, Patrick. I feel like I've known Patrick for most of my life. Not really known him, but, like I said, seen him around the neighborhood. Not the kind of person I would thought to do that, but stuff happens, so.
Did you ever?
So many times in situations like this, we hear people say that they never would have thought. We here at Fox 5 Atlanta have not pinpointed a specific motive in this particular shooting. The New York Times has suggested that Patrick, as he named him there, the suspected shooter, had a disdain for the coronavirus and the vaccines, and that's possibly why he was in the area with a gun. We'll try to get you some more information coming up soon, but I do want to tell you about some other things that are happening around the metro Atlanta area. Is back to schools in full swing for our universities and our colleges. They're getting ready to go back to school. So I wanted to get out to photojournalist Eli Jordan, who's been on the campus of Georgia Tech. Today is their official student move-in day. And I hear, Eli, that there are thousands of students expected to return for the school year. Tell us more.
Hey, Judea, good morning. Yeah, I mean, they're expecting at least 4,000 freshmen or transfer students or, grad students, but mainly freshmen coming here. And can you imagine being 18 years old and moving to the big city, having this right out your window of your dorm and stuff? That's what's happening right now as kids are moving in, and we got parents lined up, and we got this. They're moving into the dorms. They're pulling into the back here, and they're bringing in their belongings. And Georgia Tech has workers out here to help load up into the big rolling bins. See, I mean, they're right here, seeing the big city. Oh, and here it is, residence halls and all that stuff for the new freshmen. They're going to be freaking out. It's their first time ever out on their own, and it's going to be really cool. But you can see, here's all the big action of the moving in. And, nervous parents, excited kids, and hard workers out here helping get things done. But I spoke to a parent earlier who drove their kid all the way down here from Ohio. Was here what he had to say. What's it like to see your child kind of head out into the great wide open?
Well, I think it's a mixed feeling for us as parents. See my first one's going to college. She's she's graduated from high school, but she's excited. She's looking forward to the future, I think. So, so chemical engineering. Is what she like, and Georgia Tech has a good reputation. I think she's so excited so far.
We are all excited.
Yeah, we're excited for her, and so
excited and nervous both.
Yeah, it's
a
little nervous, but it's not. I'm not too worried about it. I think she will get it. Yeah.
What's the biggest concern you have for your daughter?
I think get used to be as independent adult now, as young adult. So she needs to learn how to work with people's. Work with her peer students, faculties, and I think that's. I think she get it to that. Yeah.
Awesome. And so, I mean, this is a big deal. This is like the first big adult moment for the children heading off, especially the freshmen.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time they've been out on their own. What do you think is the biggest concern amongst parents, total, overall?
I think as a girl, young adult girl, so I think my concern is she need to get used to. I don't worry about her academics, so I'm not worried about her regular people skills either. So I think for her, living in a big city now, so pay attention to safety, securities, and also when she grow up and go through the freshman, sophomore, junior years, she can learn how to work with all kinds of people.
Out. And he's not the only nervous parent out here. You can see people moving in behind me right here, but this is going to be going on all day, Judea, till like 6, 7 o'clock tonight. And school starts August 18th. That's a week from tomorrow. So in the meantime, these freshmen and transfer students, they'll be going through orientations, what you can and can't do, what's expected, and all that good stuff. But a lot of excited students, freshmen coming in, fresh out of high school, first time out from underneath their parents' thumb, and a lot of nervous parents wondering what the next 4 years is going to bring as they see their kids finally stepping out into the real world and trying to become an adult. Judea?
Eli, I love it. I've said before that back to school is always my favorite time of the year. Partially because I'm a nerd, partially because I liked the new clothes and just the feel of being in a new place. And I don't know about you, but I remember for me, the first night that I went through school, I went to Howard University for my undergraduate degree. And I cried when my mom left, when she pulled off. And then cried for my dad, too. I wonder if we'll see any tears.
Well, I didn't go to college. I'm a blue-collar worker who took up photography really quick. So right out of high school, I had a little bit of a technical college background, a little bit, but did about a year of that. But then a job came open in television, and I was like, well, I'm going to learn that trade and get paid for it. And because I wasn't into math. Well, I like math, but I wasn't into English. I didn't like English at all. Couldn't, diagramming sentences and stuff. That's not fun. But it is a fun time for these people who paid attention and know how to diagram their sentences and do their math and all that. They're going to come in here and have a good time, see what it's like to live in Atlanta. They're going to have like the Falcons and the Braves up the road and all sorts of, it's going to be a blast for them to come in here and start living their own lives now.
Yeah, for sure. And Joe, you mentioned the nervous parents there, but I do love that her father said even though, he may be nervous, he was not nervous at all for her schoolwork. He knew that she's a smart girl. She's going to get out there and do everything that she needs to do. So just nice to hear some of the things that they have to say. We will be out with Eli all morning long into the afternoon, hopefully getting to talk to a couple of more students about how they feel coming into the new school year, a whole new place. As he mentioned, there are first-year students, there are graduate students, and there are transfers who are moving in today. They are expecting about 4,000 students to move into their dorms and on-campus housing out there at Georgia Tech. But speaking of the first day of classes, let's go over when some of the biggest schools go back. We learned that UGA will be going back on the 13th. That is, what is that, Wednesday coming up? Yeah, just about. I think, yeah, that's our Wednesday. As Eli mentioned, Georgia Tech goes back to school on the 18th. And then, I mentioned that I went to Howard University, which is an HBCU, so I wanted to make sure that I talked about them too. Morehouse, Spelman, Clark Atlanta University all go back on August 20th. And then Georgia State University, they're holding out for the big one. They won't go back to school until August 25th. But I'm sure it's an exciting time for all of the students, all of the parents, nervous as they may be, just to know that their little one is going off into the world and they're going to start spreading their wings. So I also wanted to get to you about some of the back to school spending, because I know you may be trying to get your supplies in the house, and you may have noticed that they have become a whole lot more expensive. Well, it's not just you. This year, parents are noticing an increase in pricing from everything from pencils to polos. We've learned that that is due to the tariffs. We'd like to keep our pulse on all things consumerism. So We'll be looking to see if we can find you any good deals to help you so you don't have to make the tough decision on which supplies you're going to get and which ones you have to put back. But speaking of things that are getting expensive, have you heard about the Labubu trend? That image to me is so terrifying. I feel like I could see it in my nightmares. But a lot of people think they're really cute. These Labubu dolls are so popular right now. And the BBB, the Better Business Bureau, let us know that there are also counterfeiters out there, scammers who have put together these elaborate websites. You might think you're getting the official doll so you can fit in with the rest of the crowd, but come to find out you either might not get anything at all or you'll be getting a knockoff. So I spoke to Taylor Hicks. She works for the Better Business Bureau out here in Metro Atlanta, the North Georgia area. She talked to us about how you can spot a fake and then how you can make sure that you are not victimized and that you don't spend your money there. Let's listen in on that conversation.
And I know it's a huge growing trend. Everybody wants one. But when you are, for lack of better words, desperate to get something out there, you can fall victim to scams. So first of all, how many people are you seeing reporting these counterfeit items to the Better Business Bureau?
Yeah, so far, BBB Scam Tracker has read that we've received over 70 reports from people who thought that they were purchasing actual Labubu dolls, but a lot of those people received counterfeit Labubu dolls, or they placed an order on a fake website and the doll never came.
Okay, now for those streaming out there who may not understand what a Labubu is, we're going to drop some images so you get a better gist of what we're talking about, this hot ticket item that everybody is looking for. But while we are talking about Labubus, counterfeit items, scams, something that could affect anybody. So could you give me a couple of tips to make sure that you can spot one and avoid it?
Yeah, of course. So I will say how you can protect yourself from these scams. There's a number of ways, and this kind of goes, for anything when you're shopping online or you're testing out a new website or you see a deal that's too good to be true. So the first thing I would say is be super cautious. We always say at BBB, and it sounds redundant, but do your research. A little bit of research goes a long way. So, search for the company's website and go on Google and maybe put scam behind it or reviews to see if there are any warnings from people and to see what people's experiences have been outside of the website that you're buying from. You can also go to bbb.org and look up the company that you're purchasing from, and you can see, what people had different experiences, how long the company has been operating, and things of that nature. You can also see their rating. And that would give you a pretty good snapshot of whether or not the company is legit. And if it's accredited, we encourage you to buy from accredited businesses. Another thing that people kind of overlook is purchasing these items with a secure payment method, preferably credit cards, just because they offer more security rather than, paying through Cash App or Zelle, Venmo, or debit card. So always, if you're purchasing online and you can, we recommend that you use a credit card. And if you are buying from these websites and they tell you that you can pay with Cash App or Zelle or any of those platforms, I would say maybe try a new platform or maybe try a new website, because that might not be 100% legit. And then the last thing I would say is, if you type in Labubu doll and you're like, where to get it, don't click on just the first thing that you see. Like, again, that goes back to doing your research, because some people are creating fake lookalike websites and, again, like not even receiving their items.
With that, I know a lot of people, like, because this is something that's trendy, will go on like the TikTok shop or the market and, like you said, just click on that first thing that they see. But you really have to do your homework to make sure that you are safe, you're not getting scammed, and that your money is going in the right hands, so that you get the product that you are asking for.
Exactly.
Now, I also want to ask you if someone out there streaming with us does realize that they have been a victim, how can they go about reporting that to the Better Business Bureau?
Yeah, so if you have been a victim of the scam or something doesn't feel right, you don't receive your item, or just something's fishy, you can report it to our BBB scam tracker. That's where all of these reports have come in that I'm reporting to you. And you can go there by typing in bbb.org/scam tracker. And, this will just help other people from becoming victims and, just getting ahead of the scams.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your insight with us, letting us know how we can go ahead and report them ourselves. I have a feeling somebody out there streaming with us is like, thank you. This is exactly what I needed. So we appreciate you for your time.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you guys, that conversation there, while we were talking about Labubu dolls, you could apply that to just about anything. You want to be really careful while you are out there shopping and where you're putting your card information into, because unfortunately, there are some bad actors out there. So again, that website that she gave us is www.bbb.org/scam tracker. That is how you can report one of these counterfeit sites, one of these fraudulent sellers, so that you can protect the next person coming in. All right, when we come back, I'm going to get you another look at your weather forecast. We'll also continue talking about some of the breaking news, not just here in the Metro Atlanta area, but we'll also give you an update to a shooting in New York City. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back into Fox. Welcome to our stream. I'm joined now with our meteorologist, Alex Forbes. I wanted to get you guys another look at your forecast. Alex, what can you tell us about the weather?
So I ran out about an hour ago, and I had been saying all morning that we were going to have spotty showers, and I think what we're actually seeing right now is more than what the radar is picking up on, because I had drizzle running up to the grocery store, and that can happen when it's really shallow, right? The radar, so if it's drizzling, the radar can shoot over it and just miss it, and I think that's what we're seeing across the metro area, at least here in DeKalb County. I can vouch for that. But you see the low cloud cover very much in place. You see some green mixed in as well. 73 in Atlanta, 72 over in Blairsville, 69 in Gainesville, 74 in Athens, 77 in Eatonton, and 68 over in Canton at this hour. So your rain chances, I really should bring up the rest of the morning. It's at a 20% chance now. It's going to stay like that through the day today. We will get some peaks of sun later in the afternoon. we're going to have to wait a little bit on that one. Then for tomorrow, notice this, a 40% chance of rain. That's going to be all day long. So you've got an equal shot at the bus stop in the morning as you do for the ride home, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm expecting more showers tomorrow than actual storms, so at least that's a piece of good news. But still, I would keep an eye on the radar because we're going to be looking at some drizzle across parts of the area. So here we go. This afternoon, temperatures getting into the low 80s, 78 by the 1 o'clock hour, and then I'm looking for 84 or so for a high temperature today. It is going to be a relatively nice day, all things considered, right? Not looking at any other big weather impact or something like that across the area. 84 in Atlanta, 85 in Canton, 82 in Gainesville, 83 in Blairsville this afternoon, and 82 over in Athens. How about Rome at 88? They're going to be at 88 for the same reason they were yesterday. Easterly breeze, not exactly making it there. But not to worry. We're all going to make our way back up toward 90 by Friday, which, to be fair, is where we should be for this time of year. So that's to be expected. And the good news is we're not going over that number here in the days to come. So here's your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. Again, I know there's a little sun there, but I'm not expecting to see a lot of sun today or tomorrow for that matter. Mixing in some storms there on Tuesday with the 30 to 40% chance of rain to round out the week.
Ooh, so, I mean, just you telling me you went to the store and, you know,
Yep.
you got caught in the drizzle. We should be keeping our umbrellas handy.
Umbrellas, rain jackets, nothing more.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us a better look at our forecast. I wonder if that's affecting some of the kids out there at Georgia Tech.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be all day for them?
At least through like 1, 2, 3-ish in the early afternoon. Once we get to the late afternoon, if we do, the steady shower activity I'm expecting to see would be more of a shower rather than a drizzle. If you will.
Okay. Yeah, our Eli Jordan told us that they'll be out there. It's about 7 p.m. So.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you guys picked an interesting day to come back to school. But
look, it's August after all. Just be glad it's not storming, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. And also be glad that it's not beaming down the sun on your skin. Like,
exactly.
that would have been horrible.
I think that people will take this over that.
Yeah, I don't want to sweat while I'm bringing in my suitcases. Well, we will get another look at our forecast with Alex a little later on in the show. I want to get you guys a live look at New York City, the skyline there, where we learned there was a shooting that actually kind of coincided with the shooting that we had out here near the CDC. In this particular incident, we learned that 3 people were shot in the early morning in New York City's iconic Times Square. Police actually detained a 17-year-old suspect. Now, the gunfire erupted in what is supposed to be a gun-free zone near the intersection of 44th Street and 7th Avenue. Once again, if you're not familiar with New York City, I mean, you can just look at by the video and the pictures that we have here for you, poppin' area. I actually think if you are familiar with New York City, it might be out there close to the famous red stairs. You usually see people doing like their TikTok dances over there by. But this also was just feet away from the Hard Rock Cafe and Carmine's Italian restaurant. Again, a very poppin' area. This happened around 1:20 a.m., sending tons of people out in New York City running for cover. You can just imagine it. The population in New York City alone is in the millions, so you can imagine how many people were freaking out and scared about what was going on. We learned that an 18-year-old woman and 2 men who were 19 and 65 were injured in the shooting. This also, as we've learned from police, apparently stemmed from some sort of dispute between 2 people, so some sort of argument, maybe a fight. However, police have not released what triggered the argument itself. So the teen suspect, that 17-year-old we told you about, was taken into custody, but so far no charges have been filed. We'll keep on looking out for any update on that to let you guys know about. But once again, the police did tell us that this stemmed from some sort of argument out there in New York City near Times Square. Well, coming back to our neck of the woods, a couple of authorities out in Clayton County as well as DeKalb County want to make sure that crime and violence stops happening in our area. And so over in Clayton County, the police department has tried their hand at making sure that residents store their guns safely. They teamed up with the district attorney's office to host a gun lockbox giveaway for Clayton County residents. It was on a first come, first serve basis. The police department says that gun safes are important for reducing the risk of accidents and misuse of firearms. You know, with this, if you have children around or any other vulnerable population who may not understand the real risk when you are holding one of these items in your hand, this will keep them out of harm's way. The giveaway happened at the Clayton County Police Department headquarters. Let's take a listen to what these officials had to tell us.
We understand that we can't be a successful community without having the collaboration of our district attorney's office, our police department, and our citizens. And we're working together to keep everyone safe.
They had a similar idea. The DeKalb County Police Department also held a gun safe giveaway. Now, these gun safes were available for free at any DeKalb County precinct, and county officials say that more than 400 people turned out to bring one home. So it was a success in their eyes. Now, to receive a safe, all you had to do was be 21 years old, you had to own a gun, and you had to live in DeKalb County. They said that they decided to host this particular giveaway after the recent shooting death of a 5-year-old child. They want to help make sure that gun owners understand safety measures and are practicing them to prevent these types of deaths. Let's listen in.
This has actually been a program that we have been doing for 3 years now. It started in 2022 after we saw a slight uptick in stolen guns from vehicles. So to sort of combat that, we started giving out free gun safes to the community. And that started back in 2022. Today was just another push where we try to encourage citizens to actually store their guns safely.
Earlier in the show, we spoke to you about the shooting here near the CDC here in Atlanta, and we talked to you a little bit about the officer who was killed in the line of duty while responding to that incident. His name is Officer David Rose. We let you know that he had began working for the DeKalb County Police Department in about September 2024 and graduated just as early as this past March. And we had his full graduation speech. I want to get you guys a listen in so you can hear the kind of person he was and the oath of office that he had to take. Let's listen.
I would now like to introduce the class leader for Class 138, David Rose.
Good morning, everyone. Honored guests, family, friends, instructors, and most importantly, my fellow graduates of Academy Class 138. Today is a day we will never forget. Today we stand here as a proud few who made it through one of the most challenging, demanding, and life-changing experiences of our lives. When we first walked through those academy doors, we were 12 individuals from different backgrounds, different stories, and different walks of life. Some of us came from military service, some from college, some from different careers entirely. Some of us have dreamed of this moment since childhood, while others found this path later in life. But we had one thing in common. We wanted to serve. We wanted to be part of something greater than ourselves. We wanted to wear the badge, not for the sake of a title, but for the responsibility that comes with it. And responsibility is exactly what this job demands. From the very first day, we learned that policing isn't just about enforcing the law. It's about protecting the vulnerable, standing for justice, and being the person who runs towards danger when others run away. We learned that the badge we will wear isn't just a piece of metal, it's a symbol of trust, of duty, of sacrifice. It represents not just us, but every officer who came before us and every officer that will come after us. The role here is anything but easy. We face early mornings, long nights, we endure physical exhaustion, endless drills, and tests that pushed our minds to the limit. We learned to function under pressure, to operate as a unit, and to trust each other when it mattered the most. We were broken down and built back up, stronger, sharper, and more prepared than we ever thought possible. There were moments when we doubted ourselves, moments when we wondered if we had what it took. But in those moments, we found something more powerful than fear. We found each other. We found strength in the person next to us, and the instructors who pushed us beyond our limits, and the loved ones who remained with us while we started the journey in the first place. But we also faced loss. Along the way, 5 of our brothers and sisters could not continue the journey with us. It wasn't because they weren't capable, it wasn't because they didn't want it enough. The path isn't for everyone, and that's what makes it today so meaningful. Those who started with us, who trained with us, who bled and sweat with us, they are still part of our story. They are part of Class 138, and today we carry them with us. Through it all, one person stood out as a guiding force, a mentor, and sometimes a voice in our heads that we didn't want to hear but needed to. Instructor Jones. Sir, you pushed us beyond our limits. You demanded the best from us when we thought we had nothing left to give. You didn't just teach us how to be officers, you showed us what it means to wear this uniform with honor, integrity, and accountability. You reminded us that this job isn't about power, it's about service. It's about standing between chaos and order, it's about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. There were moments when we thought you were too hard on us, when we were exhausted, when you made us repeat drills over and over, when we thought we had already given everything we had. But now, as we stand here today, we understand you weren't just training us to pass a test, you are preparing us for the reality of this job. You are making sure that when we step out onto these streets, we are ready. Then when someone calls for help, we don't hesitate. That when things get tough, and they will, we don't break. For that, we owe you more than just thanks. We owe you our commitment to uphold the values you instilled in us. Today, we are not just 6 officers, we are 6 brothers and sisters, forged in struggle, united in purpose. We leave here knowing no matter what challenges come our way, we will face them together. Just as we have since day one, this is more than a career, it's a calling. And today, we answer that call. To our families and loved ones, thank you. Thank you for the patience, the encouragement, and the sacrifices that you made so we can pursue this calling. The late nights, the missed family events, the stress you carried as we pushed through. This academy, we know it wasn't easy on you either, but you stood by us. You lifted us up when we needed it, and you remind us why we started this journey. We couldn't be standing here without any of you. To my fellow graduates, Academy Class 138, we made it. We are ready, but our journey is just beginning. From this day forward, we carry the weight of this badge with pride, with humility, and with unwavering commitment to serve and protect. So as we step into this new chapter, let's remember why we're here. Let's remember what it took to get us here. Let's not forget that we are stronger together. Congratulations, Class 138. Stay safe, stay strong, and always watch each other's 6.
Hey guys, welcome to Fox Local. If you're just now streaming with us here, I want to introduce myself to you. I'm Judea Murray. I'm going to be your host for the next couple of hours. We are covering some breaking updates in the Metro Atlanta area. Here's a quick look at them. So first we'll start with the CDC shooting and the latest information that we've gotten on that. We'll also be talking about a small plane crash out in DeKalb County. Fox 5 Atlanta did receive rights and permission for some exclusive video. It's going to be stuff that you only see here. We're also going to be heading out to Georgia Tech, where Georgia colleges are back open for business for their students for the fall semester. So we'll get a look at some of those new students, first years, the transfers, the grad students who are getting out to campus and moving right on in. But first, I want to get you guys a look at your forecast with Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Alex Forbes.
All right, Judea, yeah, temperatures, they are about where they should be for this time of year. Started in the low 70s this morning. We've only warmed about a degree or two here in Atlanta, and we have some scattered showers out there. Now, our clouds are really shallow, which is why this particular satellite imagery is not picking up on them right now. But they're out there. Saw them with my own eyes. I can confirm. 69 in Canton right now, 70 over in Gainesville, 72 in Blue Ridge, 70 in Clayton, and 75 in Athens at this hour. A whole lot of rain down to the south and east. South Carolina, the Georgia coastline, and then also down towards Florida, Louisiana. Yeah, some heavier showers there. Now, this piece of energy is going to bring some rain into eastern Georgia by the time we get to tomorrow, but it's not going to be that much in the grand scheme of things. Expecting to keep the clouds around for the remainder of the morning, and now and into the early afternoon, we will be picking up that 20% chance of rain and carrying that through the remainder of the day as temperatures get into the low to mid 80s. Here's how it looks on that hour-by-hour forecast now. There we are at the 2 o'clock hour. You see just some scattered showers out there. Notice tonight, though, that the rain activity is not going to go away entirely. In fact, by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, looking at some scattered showers and even some heavier downpours across parts of north and central Georgia. There's the noon hour, and then on into the afternoon, some scattered showers across the area with temperatures in the 80s once again. Check of the tropics for you this morning. Things are beginning to heat up across the Atlantic. First, we've got this area of disturbed weather, 20% chance of development in the next 2 days, but this is catching my eye more. A 30% chance of development in the next 2 days and an 80% chance of development in the next 7 days. Now, here's the deal with this. It is still 3,000 miles away from the United States, which means we have a long time to watch it. It's going to take a long time for it to cross the Atlantic, which models are in decent agreement that it will get into the western Atlantic. But beyond this point right here, there is no reliability in the models. So if you see them floating around online, oh, this says that, that says this. Look, beyond next Sunday, really 7 days should be your rule. It carries no weight. You know, you could plop a hurricane, over the East Coast 11 days away, and I'm going to scroll right on past it because I know better than that. So something to just watch here through the week to come. I think as we get towards, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it gets into the closer range, then yeah, we will pay closer attention to it. But for now, we're just kind of keeping an eye on it as it rolls off of the African coast. All right, later on today here in Atlanta, 84, 80 in Athens, 81 in Gainesville, 82 in Blairsville, 86 over in Rome, and 83 in Carrollton. Our average high is 90, so we will be below that today, tomorrow, and for the next couple of days. August starting off on a very cool note. In fact, I think it's the 5th coolest August we've seen, at least to start. But we will get back to average by the time we get to Friday, a high temperature of 90 with a 30% chance of showers and storms. Judea?
Alex, I just want to let you know, I was reading some of the comments here on our stream. There are quite a few about the weather, but Crazy Mike 007 says he actually prefers rain over the hot sun in the summer. So.
Look, that's what I was saying with the All-Star game a couple weeks ago. I would rather it rain and cool things down and have the remainder of the day be okay than just have it be hot all the time.
Yeah,
so I agree with you, Crazy Mike.
He also let us know he's over in the Chattahoochee Hills area, and they do have some light rain, so kind of like what you experienced when you were out going to the store.
Yeah, it's just that fine mist, and at times it'll pick up. Like it took a minute for my car windshield wiper to trigger. It's an automatic one, and it didn't pick up on it immediately. It took a minute to accumulate some water.
Yeah, pretty cool feature that you have there. I've got to look into that because for me, I have to trigger it manually, and sometimes I'm just too slow. But we'll get back out to Alex Forbes a little later on in the stream. I wanted to look at a couple of other comments that we have been getting before I get into our news of the day. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us out here on Fox Local, whether you're streaming with us on YouTube. Maybe you are listening in the car, on the radio. Drive safely if you are. Or maybe you are joining us on fox5atlanta.com, watching on your TV back at home, one of your smart TVs. We had a comment from Betty Smith, a solemn one. She said, "May Officer Rose rest in peace." Another person who had listened to a graduation speech that we're also going to get you a little later on. We had a commenter that commented that it was beautiful, and which it truly was. So let's get back to our news of the day. I just wanted to make sure I spoke to a couple of you guys, let you know that we do see you and we appreciate you streaming with us. Well, we have been covering the CDC deadly shooting in which Officer David Rose was killed. We also found that the suspect was later found dead. But I want to get you the latest information. Here's what we do have confirmed. So campus, Emory University, they're going to be seeing an increased police presence throughout the weekend. They will be patrolled by Emory Police and Georgia Tech Police. We also learned that the identity of the suspected shooter, 30-year-old Patrick Joseph White of Kennesaw. The GBI was able to get us that information. We confirmed it on yesterday's stream. So if you were joining us with us yesterday, you kind of got that information before the rest of the world probably got it. The GBI also said that the investigation will take an extended period of time due to what they're calling a complex scene and extensive evidence to collect. Speaking of evidence, we did have some video from the CDC where you could see, look, these pictures that have been sent in, you can see the bullet holes. When the gunshots rang out in the area, we did learn that 2 windows, or a couple of them, excuse me, had been shot out. So back to some of that confirmed information. We learned a little bit more about some business owners in the area who responded very quickly to what was happening. We actually heard from employees who were working near the CVS at Emory Point, and one man in particular told us that his coworkers and his manager at a restaurant just down the street from where this all took place heard the gunshots, and they were forced to go under lockdown. But not only did they try to make sure that they were safe, they saw people out there on the street and pulled them in to make sure that they could be safe too. This is one of those things where you really learn about the humanity of people. They didn't see people out there and just let them struggle, let them be scared. They pulled them into safety as well. So we talked to those employees. I want to get you a quick sound from them right now.
The lady who just got off the bus, she was saying, and she was in a panic. She was trying to run towards the parking garage over there, but my executive chef signaled her to come inside because, you know, you're hearing gunshots everywhere. You want to make sure she's safe too, so you don't want to, you know, have her getting harmed. There's another guy who was outside too, who was walking around. I'd signal him to come inside just to make sure they were safe as well. My deepest condolences go out to the wife and the family of that gentleman. I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Like, you know, they lost a hero. You know, he was trying to protect.
Yeah, protect indeed. Let's get you some information on Officer David Rose, tell you a little bit more about who this man truly was. We learned that he's 33 years old. He had just started working with the DeKalb County Police Department. Actually, he had graduated as early as March. So not only is his family grieving, he left behind a wife, 2 children, and we also learned that he had a child on the way. His wife is pregnant, and so I know a lot of our thoughts are out there with her to make sure that she continues to have a healthy pregnancy. We also learned that the DeKalb County officers and other DeKalb County officials in the area are honoring his life. So we're waiting to hear more information about a memorial or any particular vigils that may come in, but people have already started gathering, leaving flowers and whatnot, again, to honor his life. People also left some kind messages there for his family, for anybody else who, is walking by and they just need that hope and that sense that things will be brighter and for our future. But of course, this violent incident left many people shaken, again, including the employees that we heard from a little earlier. But going back to Officer Rose and who he was, we actually got a glimpse at his speech that he gave when he was graduating in order to become a police officer. But let's hear that sound just in a clip of it.
We wanted to be part of something greater than ourselves. We wanted to wear the badge, not for the sake of a title, but for the responsibility that comes with it. And responsibility is exactly what this job demands. From the very first day, we learned that policing isn't just about enforcing the law. It's about protecting the vulnerable, standing for justice, and being the person who runs towards danger when others run away.
So as I mentioned, DeKalb County will be lowering their flags. Actually, if you were out there in the area, you've probably already seen that they're flying at half staff. It's not just the police department that will be doing this. It will also be other DeKalb County official offices in the area. And you guys, like I mentioned, Georgia officials are mourning the fallen officer. We actually got some statements from a couple of them. Let's start with one from Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens. He said, and this is just an excerpt from a much longer statement that he gave to Fox 5 Atlanta, but I felt like this was the part that I really wanted people to get out there to see. Officer Rose bravely responded to the active shooter incident on Emory's campus and lost his life while protecting so many others. So we grieve alongside his family. My heart goes out to the entire DeKalb County government and police department. Officer Rose's passing is a stark reminder that every day, law enforcement officers put themselves in harm's way to protect others, and this dedication deserves our respect and gratitude. We also have a statement from Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. He said, and this was posted on his X account twice this week, deranged criminals have targeted innocent Georgians. Each time, brave first responders rush toward the danger to subdue the shooter and save lives, reminding us of just how crucial they are. Marty, the girls, and I are thankful for all of those who answer the call to serve and who protect their fellow Georgians. We ask that you join us in holding them in our prayers, along with those harmed this evening near the CDC Center. That there was from Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. But you guys, he mentioned that this was actually the second time within a week that we were learning about such a horrific incident in which a first responder had to put themselves in harm's way to make sure everyone else was safe. Let's get you an update on the Fort Stewart shooting that we had covered last week. We learned that there 3 soldiers were injured in that shooting. They were hospitalized but are expected to make a recovery, which is great news for all of us here in Georgia and anybody else who has been paying attention to this story in particular. We also identified the gunman as 28-year-old Army Sergeant Cornelius Radford. He's already been booked into the Liberty County Jail, and he's going to be tried by the Army Office of Special Trial Counsel. You're taking a look at him right there. Now, so far, while Fox 5 Atlanta has not identified or confirmed any clear motive for the attack, the New York Times has been reporting that Radford sent a goodbye text to his aunt just moments before the shooting. They're also reporting that Radford was allegedly bullied in 2018 over his stutter. We have not confirmed that that is the reason for this incident, but that is some of what the media is out there saying. Now, coming back to us here in the studio, we're going to get you a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take another look at your weather forecast out there with Alex Forbes. We'll also be covering that DeKalb County plane crash that I told you about. Remember, we do have exclusive video, so stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back into our stream. I'm joined by our meteorologist, Alex Forbes. Can you give us another look at what we are expecting out there this week?
Yeah, so I think we're still enjoying the cooler weather. It's been one of the coolest starts to August that we have seen since records have been kept since the 1800s. Not the coolest, but one of the coolest, and that's in terms of the high temperature. So we're slowly but surely getting back to average in terms of that high temperature, but I tell you what, the way it feels outside right now, if we could just bottle this up and keep it for the rest of the month, that would be fantastic. Here's where things stand. Yeah, 74 here in Atlanta. It's going to be 74 in Rome, 69 in Canton, 73 in Blairsville, 70 in Gainesville, and a pair of 7s down there in Eatonton at this hour. All right. Braves forecast. We got first pitch coming up here in just about 3 hours. Temperatures are going to be on the uphill swing. I'm looking for 84 a little later on this afternoon with a 20% chance of rain. Again, that's an 80% chance of staying dry. We've also got that cloud cover out there right now, and I was mentioning earlier, Judea, that that's not telling the whole story. We are seeing some drizzle. In fact, I saw it myself here in DeKalb County, and we're going to continue to see that here through the morning hours and into the afternoon. So the rain chances technically don't pick up until about 20%. Now, when I say rain chances, I'm looking for more of like that steady shower rather than the misty drizzle stuff. I don't really factor that in because it doesn't measure officially at the official observation sites. But for tomorrow, notice that 40% chance of heavier showers. That will be around through the afternoon and, well, honestly, through the morning, afternoon, and evening. So, yes, a couple bus stops might get wet as well. Looking beyond the Braves game to about 7 p.m., it's still headed to about 80 degrees at that hour. But for today, 84 in Atlanta, 85 in Canton, 82 in Gainesville and in Athens, 83 in Blairsville, 83 in Thomaston, and a pair of 8s over in Rome. There's that warm-up I was talking about, up close to 90 by the time we get to Friday. You add it all up, you get your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. Again, it's not as hot as it could be. At least we're not talking about heat index values. We're talking about temperatures at or below average for the next week.
Yeah, well, Alex, I mean, look, just by looking at our YouTube comments, I had a poll up just a second ago. Let me see if I can get them again. It seems like people are not that upset about the forecast. They're okay with a little bit of rain if it means cooler weather.
Right, exactly. Count me in that. I'll go leave a comment.
Now, let me ask you this. Take off your meteorologist hat and just put on your I'm a regular Georgian hat. What activities could you recommend for the type of forecast that we're seeing for today, besides the game?
Well, that was the first thing that came to mind was the Braves game. No, I mean, look, anything that you could do outside that you don't want it to be hot for necessarily. Like, I think this is great running weather, for example. You know, it's not too hot. You're kind of being cooled in the process by the way of the mist. But doing anything outside, I'd say things maybe not to do. I don't think a kite's going to work today. You know, the wind's not blowing, and a kite and mist don't really get along too well, in case you didn't know that. But no, I mean, anything outside that you can't do when it's really hot, definitely in the fold today.
This would be your day.
Yep.
This is the sweet spot. All right, well, thank you. We'll get another look with the forecast with you a little later on in the show. But just letting you guys know, I told you one of our top stories was going to be that DeKalb County plane crash. I'm sure you also heard about it, Alex. We can get that video up. It is exclusive video of that situation. So we learned that this happened, I believe it was in Brookhaven, out by that the DeKalb County Peachtree Airport. This happened just overnight. Again, this is video that you're only going to see here on Fox 5 Atlanta and Fox Local. We zoomed in for you. You see that man standing right there. That is one of the victims of this crash. So while 2 other people were critically injured, this person somehow, honestly, I think it's the drug of adrenaline, but this person was able to emerge from the wreck and was standing there hoping to be helped soon by the emergency first responders that were out there. This took place at around 12:30 yesterday morning on Claremont Road and 9th Street. Again, I let you guys know that 3 people were involved. 2 other people were injured critically, but as you can see, that third person was good enough to get himself out of the wreckage. If he's comfortable telling his story, I mean, I'm sure that is going to be something that sticks with him for the rest of their life. How I not only survived a plane wreck, but pulled myself out of it. Now, he was still taken to the hospital, so don't get me wrong. The other 2 passengers, as I mentioned, are in critical condition, but we are told that they were conscious, alert, and breathing. The cause of that crash is still under investigation. Now, I want to let you guys know about a new phenomenon. Well, it's not necessarily new, but the effect that it's having on the metro Atlanta area is it's card skimmers. And the FBI is warning us that it can happen anywhere. I mean, from East Point, downtown, Forest Park, all the way to College Park. The Secret Service, the USDA, and a lot more people are looking into this. They told us that these skimmers, you think you're putting your card in and you're paying for gas, or maybe you're at the ATM and you're just trying to get some cash out. But there's this device that has been put on top of the reader. So when you put your money in or put your card in, they can steal your money and steal your information. Now, this is a nationwide effort that is focused on the metro Atlanta area. And just between Thursday and Friday, they turned up at least 40 skimmers in the areas that we told you about. So now, this is not just Metro Atlanta that has to worry about this. It just so happens that by percentage, we come in second place for the most common place to find skimmers, and we're only behind New York City. So the investigation here is getting really specific. Now, the Secret Service analysts showed us what the skimmers look like. Honestly, you might not be able to tell. They're really well hidden for the most part, which is how people fall victim to them. Again, they're easy to miss, but authorities say that it sometimes can be an inside job. Fortunately, that is not too common. Usually it's some type of crime ring that is operating in the area. So we want to make sure that you know so that you can be safe. Taking a look at the YouTube comments again, because I know a lot of people had something to say about that story in particular. Where did I see it? It's crazy. Mike 007 again. He says there should be extra protections on cards that would block the skimmers from working, which, I mean, hey, that would be great. And maybe that technology is coming. You never know. But as far as we're concerned, as long as you know that it is an issue and you know how to keep yourself, you know what to look for, you can keep yourself safe. All right, we are going to go to a break real quick, and when we come back, we are going to talk to our photojournalist, Eli Jordan, who has been on the campus of Georgia Tech, talking to some sad parents who have to let their kids go and spread their wings so they can go on to become productive members of society as adults. We'll get to that when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back into our stream. I'm Judea Murray. We have been telling you about the latest on the CDC deadly shooting, and we actually have our reporter, Lindsay Tuman, out there at the CDC. Lindsay, we are now just under, I would say, 48 hours since this incident unfolded. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you've been learning as you've been on the case? I'm sorry to interrupt you. It looks like we are having audio issues. So we're going to have to come back out to you in just a little bit. But coming back into the station, one of the other, and actually it sounds, I think we do have her sound now. I just heard a little bit in my ear, my inner ear. Can we try again with her in a double box maybe? You guys, I apologize for the technical difficulties. We're trying our best. Okay, no, it doesn't look like we have her. Lindsay, my apologies. We'll try to get back out to her a little later because she is going to give us a live look at what that area looks like, where I understand there's also been a growing memorial. So stick with us because we'll have that coming up a little later on. While we wait, though, let me tell you about what some of our officials have been telling us about this incident and about how they are mourning the life of Officer David Rose. Let's start with that statement from Mayor Andre Dickens. So as it reads here, this is just an excerpt from a much longer statement that he sent Fox 5 Atlanta, but it says, Officer Rose bravely responded to the active shooter incident on Emory's campus and lost his life while protecting so many others. We grieve alongside his family. My heart goes out to the entire DeKalb County government and police department. Officer Rose's passing is a stark reminder that every day law enforcement officers put themselves in harm's way to protect others, and this dedication deserves our respect and gratitude. Speaking of which, it does sound like we have our Lindsay back with the sound back with her, so I want to make sure we get out to her. She's outside of the CDC. Lindsay, you have been covering this story, or at least here at the station, as we've been learning more and more about Officer Rose, as well as the suspected shooter. What can you tell us about what you've been learning?
Yeah, I think the new details that we've really learned in the last day have come from neighbors and those who knew the person who GBI agents say is responsible for this deadly shooting incident, which of course happened right here in the area of the Emory University main campus, as well as the CDC. We have some video and pictures of bullets going into CDC windows. The building is here, and right where I'm standing, I can see a growing memorial outside of the CDC building as well in honor of that fallen DeKalb County police officer. It's certainly been an emotional day for many, especially as the weight of that loss has really hit the community. DeKalb County police officer David Rose, only 33 years old, a father of two with one on the way, a married man as well. He'd only graduated from the police academy back in March, where he actually served as the team leader of his graduation, speaking about the importance of putting himself in danger in order to protect his community. Before he served in the DeKalb County Police Department, he also served for 4 years as a United States Marine as well, truly encompassing what it means to be a public servant. I mentioned that we're learning a bit more about the person who GBI agents say is responsible for this shooting. That would be 30-year-old Patrick David White from Kennesaw. He was found dead at the CVS right across from the CDC. It's unclear if he died from a self-inflicted gunshot injury or an officer-involved shooting. Those circumstances are still being investigated by the GBI as of this time. A bit more about White coming from his neighbors in the last day. One neighbor told Fox 5 that White was upset about the COVID-19 vaccine and believed it might have caused an illness. His father also stated that White recently became fixated on the vaccine and was upset about the death of his dog as well. A separate neighborhood in the same place where White lived said that police got to White's house around 11:30 Friday night, investigated throughout the morning, and folks who knew him, who were familiar with him and his family, were really quite shocked to learn the news.
I seen him walking around the neighborhood. Seemed like a okay guy. I mean, communicated with him a few times. I know he did work for my grandfather around the house, like blowing leaves, cutting the grass, stuff like that. But I didn't really know him too much to comment on his character. But from what I've seen outside the house, he seems like a okay guy. I don't know what his motive would have been. I don't know if he knows anybody up there. Maybe did him wrong. I couldn't tell you that, but just from what I know about him, he seemed like an alright guy.
And again, you don't have any indication or any idea why he would be in that area?
I had zero clue, and when I seen the cops, I was wondering what was going on, and they finally talked to my dad, and I was like, there's no way, Patrick. I feel like I've known Patrick for most of my life. Not really known him, but, like I said, seen him around the neighborhood.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of disbelief in that community, and of course, mourning the loss of that officer involved. I mentioned those growing memorials. I've seen quite a few people coming by this area just to stop, take a moment, take a picture of the flowers and cards that are laid out here, and the remnants of crime scene tape, which I can still see as well in this area. Plans for a memorial service for Officer Rose have not been announced yet, but of course, we'll keep you updated on those. And this is still an active investigation. The GBI said that it will take quite some time. They were still processing the scene yesterday, interviewing witnesses. As soon as we get an update from them, especially about the potential motive in this case, we'll keep you updated as well. But for now, that is the very latest live outside of CDC headquarters. I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Lindsay, I think that was a beautiful wrap up of what we all have been learning about this incident. I'm glad that you were able to get out there live and show us what it still looks like, the fact that they do still have that tape up. Like the GBI told us, they are considering this a complex scene with a lot of evidence to comb through. So again, thank you for that look out there at the CDC. We'll come back out to you shortly, actually, maybe about the next 20 minutes to get another run through of everything that happened, just in case people are just now joining our live stream. Now, you guys, there are other things happening around the metro Atlanta area right now. Colleges and college students are gearing up to go back to school, some of them for the very first time. And so we have our photojournalist Eli Jordan out on the campus of Georgia Tech, where he's been meeting some nervous parents, but also some excited kids who are ready to get out there and learn what the world has to offer. Eli, tell us about what you've got going on campus.
Hey, Judea. Yeah, I mean, these kids are excited, and for the parents, I guess they're rambling wrecks. Oh, well. So, yeah, the kids are totally excited to get here. We have panicky parents, but they're moving in. And can you imagine, this is the residence hall right here, and we got the connector right here, and they got the varsity right across the connector. I mean, these kids are right here, and they also got, like, the Weston Plaza, the rotating, all this, right? Because, not all colleges. Over in Athens, all you got is Athens downtown to hang out in, and maybe a football team. But at Georgia Tech, you got all of Atlanta at your footstep. I mean, it's really cool. And of course, there are some nervous parents out there wondering, did they do right with their upbringing of their offspring and whatnot, and how other kids are going to be. But the kids are also excited as well, though. And I think they're a little bit more confident in themselves than the parents, and I think the kids are just ready to go. I spoke to Charlie and Nick earlier today in their dorm room. Let's see what they had to say.
Charlie Don. Nick Vaccaro.
Where are you from, Charlie?
Canton, Georgia.
Where are you from?
Ball ground. It's right next to Canton.
Cool. Do you guys know each other?
Yeah, we
grew up together, actually.
Yeah.
Same street.
Same
So
street.
was that a surprise?
Yeah, I moved away for a little bit, and full circle moment, ended up wanting to both go to Tech.
It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, here we
So
are.
what do you think about your dorm room?
We're pretty big guys.
Yeah. I mean,
we could use a little more space, but we'll make it work.
Yeah, we're going to try our
Hopefully
best. Make it home. Don't know how much I'll be in here, but definitely
not a lot.
hopefully get some rest.
So, I mean, you guys are right in the middle of the city center. You're freshmen, first time out on your own. I mean, how exciting is that?
Oh, I can't wait, man. I can't wait to get out to the streets and have some fun.
Oh, there's so much to do out here. I mean, I come down to Atlanta to have a good time.
Yeah.
It's like an hour from here.
But
an hour from my home.
School first. Georgia Tech ain't no joke. Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys want to be when you grow up?
So I'm thinking about joining a consulting firm after college and making a lot of money, you know?
Yeah.
So I take it you might be taking business then.
I'm an industrial engineer.
Okay, gotcha. And what do you,
I'm business admin. I want to be rich. So right now I'm thinking about like maybe, investment banking. I don't know. Haven't really decided yet. All I know is wherever the money is, that's where I'll be.
Right on, right on. So how do you think your parents are feeling right now? Do you think they're nervous?
Well, we're both youngest children,
Yeah.
so they've been through this.
Yeah.
But now they're empty nesters, so
Yeah.
they might be a little sad, but I think they're mostly happy.
Yeah, I saw my mom squirt some tears, but I think they're pretty proud going to Georgia Tech, pretty prestigious school. So hopefully I'm making them proud.
So school starts next Monday. I mean, you guys did 12 years of school under, your parents' and teachers' thumbs. Now here it is. The days are coming. I mean, you're on the cusp of being independent. How does that feel?
I mean, I honestly can't wait to get back into the groove of things. I've really, through 12 years, I've been doing it all myself. My parents, they could rarely help me with my math homework, so I was kind of
Yeah. No, I feel that. I don't really know how to function without having to wake up and go to class. It's just kind of part of my schedule. So I'm looking forward to get things moving, get in the groove of things again.
There'll be a lot of people from all over the world here, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
A lot different than
culture shock. Yeah, different than Canton, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Different than Canton, Georgia, that's for sure. They're here in Atlanta at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, actually, hardcore school. 14 astronauts Georgia Tech can claim they have produced. So, this is a serious business now. It's time to buckle up and not hang out too late on your Friday nights and your new friends and all that good stuff. But, yeah, this is going to be going on all day. Classes start a week from tomorrow, August 18th. So they'll be going through, orientation and expectations and rules and, how you're supposed to act and how you're supposed to not act and all that good stuff. And I represent Georgia Tech well, but I'm sure those boys will represent Georgia Tech well. I don't think their line of work is all that exciting, being a consultant firm or something. But if it makes money, that's right. But I found out that money's not everything. Maybe they'll learn that too. But anyways, it's good to be comfortable though. But yeah, kids stepping out into the future, into the great wide open here at Georgia Tech. His parents are nervous and wringing their hands. Judea?
Eli, first of all, great find for that interview. Those two boys, especially the one on the right, he had all the personality.
Oh, you know what's crazy though?
What?
The parents they're carting up with, they got all this stuff and they have carloads. They got these big carts right here full of belongings from, I guess their home, their room and all that stuff. And they get to these buildings. They don't have elevators in these buildings.
You're kidding.
Some people are on the third floor. And so, yeah, they're having to stop at the stairwell. And then I look at the dads. I'm like, yeah, I bet you wish you sit mom on the way up here. But anyways, yeah, so, the parents are getting a workout along with being nervous, but maybe the workout will help them, release some of that nervous energy. But, yeah, it's a big day for both students and parents here on the Georgia Tech campus and all around the country, really, when everybody gets swinging, when they start up the college. We got football season coming up. Actually, football season starts on the 23rd, and then the big games are on the 30th.
We do have it coming up.
And they'll get to go to their games here at Bobby Dodd, and, because they're in the ACC, and they'll, get to play Miami and Florida State, and Clemson, and they'll play Georgia. So, yeah, they'll get to experience some big-time college games here, too. So it's going to be a lot of fun for these freshmen as they embark on their new adult life after 12 years of being under the thumb of public school or just, grade school.
Grade school and for
through 12
parents.
years, it's a long time, yeah.
It is. I know for me
It's cool.
personally.
I never graduated in high school. I was happy.
Oh, I was happy too, but a little nervous as well. I think the biggest thing for me was knowing that every decision I make from here on out, yes, my mom and dad could say, no, you can't do that, but they're not there. So every decision that I make from here on out is ultimately mine, and it will go on to affect me for the rest of my future. So as you said before, these are some of the things that they'll come to learn. But thank you again for this look out at Georgia Tech. That was a great interview with those guys. Hilarious. And you guys, some of the other schools in Georgia are also getting ready for their first day. I gathered up some of the biggest schools for you. Let's see, UGA is going back to school on August 13th. Georgia Tech won't be back into school until August 18th. That's where our Eli Jordan was just at, speaking to those young boys who seem like they are very excited to get out into the city of Atlanta and see what they can do. I went to Howard University, so I'm always looking out for our historically Black colleges and universities. Morehouse, Spelman, Clark Atlanta University go back to school on August 20th. And then Georgia State University, they go back on August 25th. So that's coming up pretty soon. We also learned that parents, you've probably seen this already, but those back to school supplies are starting to get pretty expensive, whether you were in the market for a backpack, even just down to the pens and the clothes. Things do cost a lot more now. It's not just in your head. We learned that that is a result of the tariffs. I remember a couple of weeks ago, there was a survey out suggesting that parents were doing their shopping a lot earlier than they normally would because they were afraid that those tariffs would come in starting August 1st. Well, it looks like there was some truth to that. They knew better. And so, unfortunately, yes, the price is up. We are really big on consumerism here at Fox Local, and so I'm going to try to see if I can get you guys some information on any sales or any ways to save money in an upcoming stream. But until then, when we come back from this break, we're going to get another live look at your weather forecast. We'll also get back out there to our reporter, Lindsay Tuman, who has been covering the CDC deadly shooting. She's out there at the CDC. We'll try to touch base with her in just a few minutes. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox Local. I'm joined now with our meteorologist, Alex Forbes. Alex, I don't know if you were listening in just a couple of minutes ago with Eli Jordan, but apparently there are no elevators at Georgia Tech, or at that particular dorm.
I did
So
not hear that.
they are out there carrying the stuff up one by one, up those stairs to get to third floor.
Right. let's get Fox 5 Live Viper up real quick and check out some of these showers that we have out there. I can show you what they're going to be looking at here at Georgia Tech in the next few minutes, and that's going to be something that we're not picking up on here on the radar. And in fact, you know what, I'm realizing we don't have this middle screen, so I got to look really closely. Let's see if I can do this. See if I can zoom in on some of these showers, and it does not. There we go. Okay, so there you go. This is where the radar is picking up on some of these showers. There's Cartersville, Paulding County, over towards Ellijay. Obviously, Georgia Tech is down here in Atlanta. We're not really seeing anything here in the metro area on the radar. But I mentioned earlier, we do have sprinkles out there, and I think that's going to be impacting them there at Georgia Tech here over the next little bit. It's just something to be mindful of. So let's check out the current temperatures across the area. We've been talking about it all morning. It's not too bad. 74 in Atlanta, 75 in Covington, 77 in Eatonton, and 70 over in Gainesville. We will have that chance of rain around here through the afternoon hours, and then at 40% for tomorrow, right? So a double rain chance for tomorrow, and that's going to be all day. That's going to be the morning. That's going to be the late morning. That's going to be the early afternoon. It's going to be all of it for Monday. So just something to be mindful of in terms of the umbrella and the rain jacket planning. And as for today, those temperatures, not too bad. Our average high is 90, and I'm not seeing any 90s there on the hour-by-hour forecast. So that is pretty nice. High temperatures today. How about Rome at 88? They're always the outperformers whenever you get a pattern like this because they're able to get a little warmer across the area. 82 in Gainesville and 82 in Athens. And then we will get back to 90, unfortunately, as we find our way towards the back half of the week. I say unfortunately, but I mean, look, it's August. Yeah. This is the time of year where we do that kind of thing here in North Georgia. So Friday, here comes summer again. It's not going to be oppressive heat. It's certainly not going to be what we saw 2.5, 3 weeks ago, but it is going to be warmer than what it is right now here in the metro area. At least the mornings are nice, right? We're still not seeing, those 78, 77 overnight lows. Those weren't too fun. We're at least getting into the low 70s in the mountains. They're getting into the 60s as well.
Sounds good to me. And, I'm not mad about that Friday forecast. As long as it stays at that 30%, 90 degrees sounds like rooftop after work.
It sounds like summer to me.
Thank you for a look at our forecast and also just mentioning it while we were talking about some of the parents that are struggling to get that stuff up the stairs. At least it's a cooler day.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
It could be worse.
It could be. I think the day I moved into college, I went to school in Mississippi, mind you, the humidity out there, it was like 95, 96, something like that. But they had a lot of students helping, so you weren't spending a lot of time outside. It was like 5 minutes and everything. The car was empty.
Well, that's pretty nice. Probably also an opportunity for you to get to meet some of your classmates and whatnot.
Yep.
All right, Alex, we are going to get back out to you a little later on in our stream for another look at your forecast. But letting you all know, we have been covering this CDC deadly shooting for the last couple of days. And if we can pull up some video that we shot during that incident to let people know that, thank you. We have our reporter, Lindsay Tuman, out there. She's been at the CDC. She's going to give us a better look, some more insight on what unfolded in the area and how it looks out there now. Lindsay?
Yeah, good morning to you, Judea. This shooting happened on Friday in the late afternoon, early evening hours, right outside of CDC headquarters, actually across the street at the CBS that is at Emory Point, also very close to Emory University's campus. When this happened, both of these campuses went into lockdown. There was dozens of gunshots reported, and in fact, we have some video and images of bullet holes actually making their way to the CDC buildings. Of course, that's what prompted that lockdown, but it also caused some very chaotic moments for people around as they tried to piece together what exactly was happening. Now, in the last day, we've learned a lot more details about that as investigators have really pieced together what exactly happened, including giving us a better idea of the person who they say was responsible for this shooting that also resulted in the loss of life of a DeKalb County police officer. 33-year-old Officer David Rose lost his life while responding to that active shooting situation. He'd only graduated from the police academy back in March. He was known as the team leader of his group of fellow officers graduating. And prior to his service with the DeKalb County Police Department, he also served 4 years with the United States Marine Corps, really showing what a public servant he was and his commitment to public safety. He leaves behind a wife who was pregnant, as well as 2 other children. Certainly a lot of heartbreak in this community. And where I'm standing, I can see a growing memorial outside of the CDC with flowers and people stopping by to pay their respects to that officer who gave his life to certainly protect this community. Now, I mentioned that we're learning a lot more details about the person who GBI agents say is responsible for that shooting. 30-year-old Patrick David White from Kennesaw was found dead at that CVS that I mentioned right across from the CDC. At this time, it's unclear if he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound or from an officer-involved shooting. That is still being investigated, and the GBI is the lead agency on that investigation. But we're learning a bit more about White this morning, especially from his neighbors in his Kennesaw neighborhood. They tell us that White was upset over the COVID-19 vaccine and believed that it caused an illness. His father also stated that White recently became fixated on the vaccine and was upset about his dog that had passed away. A separate neighbor also told us that police got to that house, to White's house, at around 11:30 Friday night and stayed throughout the morning to investigate. And I mentioned how scary those moments were in this community here when the gunfire rang out. And we're going to play you a soundbite now from folks who were working nearby, heard the gunfire, and worked to protect themselves and their customers who were around as well.
A lady who just got off the bus, she was saying, and she was in a panic. She was trying to run towards the parking garage over there, but my executive chef signaled her to come inside because, you know, you're hearing gunshots everywhere. You want to make sure she's safe too, so you don't want to, you know, have her getting harmed. There's another guy who was outside too, who was walking around. I'd signal him to come inside just to make sure they were safe as well. My deepest condolences go out to the wife and the family of that gentleman. I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Like, you know, they lost a hero. You know, he was trying to protect.
Such a big loss for this community, the law enforcement community, and all those who were closest to Officer Rose as well. We haven't heard any word about a memorial service for him yet or any details about a funeral procession that will be held. As soon as we get that, of course, we'll pass it along. And as I mentioned, this remains an active investigation that the GBI is leading. When we get more updates from them, including about the motive behind the shooting, of course, we'll keep you updated. But for now, that's the very latest live out here from CDC headquarters. I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Lindsay, again, thank you so much for that update and everything that is happening out there. Coming back into studio real quick, I want to let you know New York City is also experiencing a similar sort of concern, worry, unrest. We've got a live look at the skyline right there. We did learn that in Times Square, 3 people were injured during an early morning shooting. This happened in what was supposed to be a gun-free zone near the intersection of 44th Street and 7th Avenue, just feet from the Hard Rock Cafe and Carmine's Italian restaurant. It happened around 1:20 a.m. And as you can imagine, in a place like New York City where there are so many people went running. Well, we did learn that police have detained a 17-year-old suspect. They're thinking that this shooting followed some sort of dispute between 2 people, but they have not said what triggered that argument. We'll have a little more on this for you after this break, but we're going to take a quick one and we'll be right back with a lot more information and headlines for you. Hey guys, welcome to Fox Local. My name is Judea Murray. Listen, we have a lot of news to get to you today. I want to get you a quick look at a rundown just so you know what's coming up. We will be continuing coverage on the CDC shooting, the deadly CDC shooting that left a beloved officer from DeKalb County dead. We will also be talking about a small plane crash out also in DeKalb County. We obtained some exclusive video that shows you just what happened moments after that plane came coming down. And then Georgia's colleges, the students are going back. So whether you're a first-year student, grad student, or a transfer, we will be out there on Georgia Tech's campus a little later on for a live look at what's happening out there with the 4,000 students who are coming back into class. But first, let's get you a look at your forecast with Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Alex Forbes.
Yeah, Judea, we're waking up to cloud cover. We're waking up to some showers out there. And if you're waking up now, it is kind of late, but don't worry, been there before. In fact, I was there the other day. 11 a.m. is where we stand now. 76 in Atlanta, 71 over in Canton, 73 in Gainesville, 77 in Athens, and 70 in Clayton. I think we're seeing more in the way of sprinkle activity, if you will, than what you see on this radar image. I happened to see myself at 9 o'clock. Sprinkles here in DeKalb County, and it was not showing up on the radar at all. And that's actually pretty normal. Whenever you get a mist like that or a heavy drizzle, if you will, sometimes that can sit below the radar beam and the radar misses it. But I tell you what, the radar is not missing anything from North Carolina through South Carolina down along the Georgia coast. We are looking at some steadier rain. Some of that energy, not necessarily the exact same rain, is going to move into eastern Georgia for tomorrow. I'll show you that here in just a moment. But first, into the evening, we are going to hang on to this cloud cover for a little while longer. A 20% chance of some showers across the area. Looking for a high temperature around 84 around 5 o'clock today, and then falling down into the 70s by 9 o'clock this evening. Here we go with the 2 p.m. hour. Scattered showers, that's about it. And I think we'll see a little more in the way of cloud cover than what you see here at the 6 o'clock hour. And notice it does not completely quiet down through the overnight. There you are at 6 a.m. Scattered showers still across the area. So a wet bus stop for some tomorrow morning. Not everybody, but for some. And that's going to continue into the afternoon. This is that energy I was alluding to down along the Georgia-South Carolina coast right now. That is going to lift up into eastern Georgia, and it's going to kind of fall apart as it moves into our area, but still bring the opportunity for maybe some heavier showers for tomorrow. On into Tuesday here, waking up to scattered showers. You guessed it yet again. And I would mix in some storms for Tuesday afternoon. You see some pockets of oranges and reds possible there across the metro area. Not a slam dunk. Still not a good chance of rain, right? Only at about 40%. So a better chance of staying dry on Tuesday than getting wet. As for today, 84 here in the city, 82 in Covington, 80 in Athens, 81 in Gainesville, 82 in Blairsville, 83 over in Canton. Then for tonight, down to 71 in Atlanta, 71 in Athens, 72 in Covington, 71 in Peachtree City, and 68 over in Blairsville. Want to get you an update of the tropics because things are, to put it bluntly, beginning to get a little active, a little watchful across the Atlantic now. We've got this area of disturbed weather. It's in the central Atlantic, lifting towards the north. It only has a 20% chance of development over the next 7 days, so I'm not too concerned about it. But I am watching this wave that's off the African coast. This has an 80% chance of developing in the next 7 days, and you can see the models do take it into the western Atlantic, but beyond that point, there is no reliability in the models. So if you see anything floating around out there, I would not put a lot of stock in it. We're going to talk more in depth about this coming up here in a little bit. But first, your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. Here you go. Temperatures in the 80s, 84 today, 83 tomorrow, 84 for Tuesday. Notice the rain chance ticks up to 40%, and then we're going to hang on to a 30% chance of rain Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as high temperatures get close to 90. Judea?
Alex, thank you so much for that look at our forecast. Bringing it back into studio, we'll get back out with Alex a little later on for another live look. But first, I want to go to our reporter Lindsay Tuman, who has been on the scene at the CDC, where just a few days ago we learned of an active shooter situation that ended with one officer's life being taken away from him. We also learned that the suspect is also dead. Lindsay, what have you learned since you've been on this case?
Yes, this happened on Friday in the afternoon hours, early evening hours, right outside of CDC headquarters and near Emory University's main campus. This prompted lockdowns in both areas as the gunfire was investigated, and we heard reports of dozens of gunshots being heard in this area. And part of those rounds of gunfire actually made their ways to the windows of CDC buildings across the street. The Atlanta Police Department said that the gunfire originated from the second floor of the CVS across the street from the CDC. That's where they found who the GBI has identified as the suspect in this case, 30-year-old Patrick David White from Kennesaw. We've learned a little bit more about him in the last day, but first I want to talk a little bit about the officer who lost his life while responding to this active shooter situation. DeKalb County Police Officer David Rose had only graduated from the DeKalb County Police Academy in March, where he served as the team leader for his graduating class. He spoke during that graduation about his commitment to protecting his community. And he, before serving as a police officer, actually spent 4 years with the United States Marines as well, really echoing that public service mindset that so many described him as having as well. Officer Rose leaves behind a wife who was pregnant, as well as 2 other children. And beyond his family and the law enforcement community, many are feeling his loss today. I mentioned that we're learning a bit more about the suspect that the GBI has identified behind the shooting in this case, 30-year-old Patrick David White. We spoke to some of his neighbors in his Kennesaw neighborhood. One told us that he had been upset about the COVID-19 vaccine, that he believed it caused an illness. His father also stated that White recently became fixated on the vaccine and was also upset about the passing of his pet dog. Another neighbor told us that they saw investigators get to White's house at around 11:30 Friday night and stayed through the morning hours. Neighbors who knew the family, who were familiar with White, were really quite shocked to learn about his involvement.
I seen him walking around the neighborhood. Seemed like a okay guy. I mean, communicated with him a few times. I know he did work for my grandfather around the house, like blowing leaves, cutting the grass, stuff like that. But I didn't really know him too much to comment on his character. But from what I've seen outside the house, he seems like a okay guy. I don't know what his motive would have been. I don't know if he knows anybody up there. Maybe did him wrong. I couldn't tell you that, but just from what I know about him, he seemed like an alright guy.
Certainly a lot of disbelief in the community, and I mentioned folks mourning the loss of Officer Rose as well. There's a growing memorial right here behind me. It might be a bit tough to see, but a number of flowers and cards left behind, and people coming this morning to continue paying their respects to Officer Rose as well. We haven't heard any word about a memorial service planned at this time. Of course, we'll keep you updated on that. And this is still an active investigation. The GBI is the lead agency on this, and they have not released any idea of what a motive might have been behind the crime. But as soon as we get those updates, of course, we'll let you know. For now, that's the very latest live outside of CDC headquarters. I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Lindsay, again, another great job recapping everything for us and for our streaming audience out there on YouTube. They are really locked in and engaged with this story in particular, so we appreciate your input and all those updates. Now, as Lindsay mentioned in her talk back with us, she did say that Officer David Rose had graduated recently from the police academy. He actually was pretty fresh and brand new on the job. We learned that he joined the DeKalb County Police Department in, I believe it was September of 2024. He graduated in March. We actually have the full speech that he gave during that ceremony. I wanted to let you guys listen to him as he talks about the oath of office that he took and how he plans to show up in his community.
I would now like to introduce the class leader for Class 138, David Rose.
Good morning, everyone. Honored guests, family, friends, instructors, and most importantly, my fellow graduates of Academy Class 138. Today is a day we will never forget. Today we stand here as a proud few who made it through one of the most challenging, demanding, and life-changing experiences of our lives. When we first walked through those academy doors, we were 12, 12 individuals from different backgrounds, different stories, and different walks of life. Some of us came from military service, some from college, some from different careers entirely. Some of us have dreamed of this moment since childhood, while others found this path later in life. But we had one thing in common. We wanted to serve. We wanted to be part of something greater than ourselves. We wanted to wear the badge, not for the sake of a title, but for the responsibility that comes with it. And responsibility is exactly what this job demands. From the very first day, we learned that policing isn't just about enforcing the law. It's about protecting the vulnerable, standing for justice, and being the person who runs towards danger when others run away. We learned that the badge we will wear isn't just a piece of metal, it's a symbol of trust, of duty, of sacrifice. It represents not just us, but every officer who came before us and every officer that will come after us. The role here was anything but easy. We faced early mornings, long nights, we endured physical exhaustion, endless drills, and tests that pushed our minds to the limit. We learned to function under pressure, to operate as a unit, and to trust each other when it mattered the most. We were broken down and built back up, stronger, sharper, and more prepared than we ever thought possible. There were moments when we doubted ourselves, moments when we wondered if we had what it took. But in those moments, we found something more powerful than fear. We found each other. We found strength in the person next to us, and the instructors who pushed us beyond our limits, and the loved ones who remained with us while we started the journey in the first place. But we also faced loss. Along the way, 5 of our brothers and sisters could not continue the journey with us. It wasn't because they weren't capable. It wasn't because they didn't want it enough. The path isn't for everyone, and that's what makes it today so meaningful. Those who started with us, who trained with us, who bled and sweat with us, they are still part of our story. They are part of Class 138, and today we carry them with us. Through it all, one person stood out as a guiding force, a mentor, and sometimes a voice in our heads that we didn't want to hear but needed to. Instructor Jones. Sir, you pushed us beyond our limits. You demanded the best from us when we thought we had nothing left to give. You didn't just teach us how to be officers, you showed us what it means to wear this uniform with honor, integrity, and accountability. You reminded us that this job isn't about power, it's about service. It's about standing between chaos and order. It's about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. There were moments when we thought you were too hard on us, when we were exhausted, when you made us repeat drills over and over, when we thought we had already given everything we had. But now, as we stand here today, we understand you weren't just training us to pass a test, you were preparing us for the reality of this job. You are making sure that when we step out onto these streets, we are ready. Then when someone calls for help, we don't hesitate. That when things get tough, and they will, we don't break. For that, we owe you more than just thanks. We owe you our commitment to uphold the values you instilled in us. Today, we are not just 6 officers, we are 6 brothers and sisters, forged in struggle, united in purpose. We leave here knowing no matter what challenges come our way, we will face them together. Just as we have since day one, this is more than a career, it's a calling. And today we answer that call. To our families and loved ones, thank you. Thank you for the patience, the encouragement, and the sacrifices that you made so we can pursue this calling. The late nights, the missed family events, the stress you carried as we pushed through. This academy, we know it wasn't easy on you either, but you stood by us. You lifted us up when we needed it, and you remind us why we started this journey. We couldn't be standing here without any of you. To my fellow graduates, Academy Class 138, we made it. We are ready, but our journey is just beginning. From this day forward, we carry the weight of this badge with pride, with humility, and with unwavering commitment to serve and protect. So as we step into this new chapter, let's remember why we're here. Let's remember what it took to get us here. Let's not forget that we are stronger together. Congratulations, Class 138. Stay safe, stay strong, and always watch each other 6.
Well, yes, you guys have just been listening to the voice of Officer David Rose. That was his graduation speech as he became an official officer. And I wanted to play it in its fullness because, I mean, you got to see how he truly felt about becoming a police officer, how seriously he took the concept of public service, of protection. And he did say there toward the end of his speech that we are a lot stronger together. And so I hope that his words, his posthumous words, fuel you as you continue into the week. And with that, we're going to get you a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get right back into some of the new updates that we are learning about this deadly CDC shooting and other information that we have learned about Officer Rose as well as the suspect when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to our stream. I'm your host, Judea Murray. You got me for the next hour and some change. Now, you guys, we have been talking about this breaking news that has now turned into a developing story out at the CDC where there was a deadly shooting. We're going to get you some more on that. But first, I wanted to make sure we took a look at your forecast so you know what you're getting into today and how you should prepare yourself for it. Alex Forbes is our meteorologist. Alex, what can you tell us about the forecast today?
Yeah, Judea, just a little bit away now from first pitch, about 2.5 hours or so, a little under that now. Looking for temperatures in the 70s to give way to 80s over at Truist Park this afternoon with a 20% chance to rain. The Braves trying to take game 4? Well, because yesterday was the doubleheader. I'm not sure how all of it falls with the rescheduled game. At any rate, it's the last game of the series. Hopefully the Braves can take this one. Temperatures getting into the mid-80s through the course of the game. Also looking for some scattered showers. I think if we see anything, it's not necessarily going to be too impactful across the state of Georgia today. They're going to be looking at that cloud cover persisting, though, into the evening tonight. It's not necessarily showing up on this model here, but trust me, it's going to be out there. And then for tomorrow morning, some scattered showers. Yeah, that's going to be prevalent across North Georgia, and that's going to continue through the day tomorrow and into the evening and overnight on into Tuesday. So chance of rain every day for the next 7 days at least, and probably beyond that. 84 in Atlanta today, 82 over in Stonecrest and in Conyers, 81 in Snellville, Lawrenceville, 83 in Alpharetta, 84 in Marietta, 85 in Kennesaw, and 85 in Dallas. Down on the south side, this is where you can be a little cooler, especially south and east of the city. We'll go 79 in Madison, 80 in Eatonton, 82 in Covington and in Carrollton. Up on the north side, some more 70s up across the South Carolina state line, 81 in Dahlonega, 82 in Cumming. Look at that. Yeah, northwest Georgia, a couple degrees warmer. They'll see a little more sun over there through the afternoon hours. Then for tonight, down to 71 in Atlanta, Tucker, Stonecrest, 72 in Conyers, 71 in Alpharetta, 72 in Kennesaw, and 70 in Dallas. There you go, 70 in Griffin, 71 in Madison, and then up on the north side, This is where temperatures are actually going to be in the upper 60s. Clayton, Blairsville, Dahlonega. In fact, we had mid-60s this morning up in Blue Ridge during Good Day Atlanta. Okay, I just want to keep mentioning the tropics because 'tis the season, right? Getting into the middle part of August and certainly into September, this is when activity really begins to pick up. This disturbance there in the central Atlantic, 20% chance of development. Even if it does develop, it is not going to impact anybody except for the fish in the Atlantic Ocean. But this thing, just rolling off the coast of Africa, that swath, that red swath over the next 7 days, it has an 80% chance of developing. The next name on the list is Aaron, and our computer forecast models do develop this system. We've got an area of high pressure that's in the Atlantic, so a system is going to ride along the high pressure. The billion-dollar question is, where would the turn happen, where it turns north? So that's going to be on our minds the next couple of days. As far as you see the models get here, that is the furthest extent of confidence that you can have this far out. So if you have anything floating around on your Facebook feed, your X feed, your Instagram feed, your TikTok feed, all the feeds for the United States, ignore it. That's what I'm doing. I've seen stuff with hurricanes in Florida, New York, Virginia, Texas, like all of it. And I'm just scrolling right on past it because I know the reliability of the model is that far out. A week is as far as you can go and have any degree of reliability beyond that. Once you get to day 8, day 9, toss it out the window. That's my rule of thumb, and it hasn't done me wrong yet. All right, there you go. Aaron is the next name, followed by Fernand and Gabrielle. Pretty soon we'll be close to Umberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, Nestor, and it just keeps on going. Here's your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. Rain chance picking up tomorrow at about 40%. I think on Tuesday we might be able to mix in some more storms across the area, then some scattered showers once again for Wednesday. Once we get towards the back half of the week, Judea, a 30% chance of storms. High temperatures a little closer to average. This is the true summertime pattern.
Got you. Alex, listen, earlier in the stream, I asked you what activities you thought would be perfect for this weather. Our commenters actually weighed in, and two of them said yard work. Today is a good day to get some yard work done.
Yeah, like I said, anything that you don't want to do in the blistering heat. And I don't know many people who enjoy yard work in the blistering heat.
I don't enjoy yard work at all.
So. Yeah, well, then there you go, too. I don't think I really do either. I don't think I've really done it.
It is not pleasant, but it is something that has to be done if you want your yard to look pretty, especially if you have that HOA. All right, Alex, thank you so much for a look at our forecast. Again, you guys, we're going to come out to him a little later on for another look later on in our stream. But first, I wanted to get out to our reporter, Lindsay Tooman. She has been covering the latest on the CDC deadly shooting that left an officer, Officer David Rose, dead. We also learned that the suspect was also found dead later on in the investigation. Let's pop out to Lindsay, who's been outside the CDC. What are you learning today? How has that memorial going out there?
Yes, Judea, there is a small memorial outside of CDC headquarters. It's right across the street. It might be a little bit difficult to see just from this angle, but there are a number of flowers and cards left behind, and I've seen quite a few people stopping by, paying their respects too. You have to imagine this is a very busy area right across the street from CDC headquarters, very close to Emory University's main campus, and a very busy shopping center as well. So there were quite a few people around this area on a Friday late afternoon when that gunfire broke out. A number of people in the area didn't know what was going on. It really created a sense of panic as they were trying to get to safety as well as process what was happening around them. We talked a bit about that officer who lost his life protecting others in this instance, 33-year-old DeKalb County police officer David Rose. He'd only graduated from the police academy in March of this year. He joined the police department back in September, and prior to that, he had served 4 years with the United States Marine Corps, really showing his dedication to public service as well. It's something he had actually spoke about during his graduation ceremony from the DeKalb County Police Department. He leaves behind a wife who was pregnant as well as 2 other children. So certainly the heartbreak that we've seen in the police and law enforcement community and well beyond is going to be felt in these days to come. Now, we've learned quite a bit more about the person who GBI agents say is responsible for this deadly shooting. 30-year-old Patrick David White, from Kennesaw. He was found dead at the CVS where Atlanta police say that shooting originated. That CVS right across the street from CDC headquarters. It's unclear if he died from a self-inflicted injury or from an officer-involved shooting. Those are circumstances that the GBI is continuing to investigate. We've learned a bit about White from his neighbors who tell us that he was upset over the COVID-19 vaccine and believed it caused an illness. His father also said he had recently become fixated on the vaccine and was upset as well about the passing of his dog. A separate neighbor in the same community where he lived in Kennesaw told us police got to the White's home at around 11:30 Friday night, stayed throughout the morning hours as well, investigating. I did talk to you a bit about what it was like in those moments following the shooting, and we've also spoken to some people who work in this area. It's a very busy area. They say when that gunfire broke out on Friday afternoon, they were doing what they could to protect themselves and the customers who were in the area as well.
I seen him walk around the neighborhood. Seemed like a okay guy. I mean, communicated with him a few times. I know he did work for my grandfather around the house, like blowing leaves, cutting the grass, stuff like that.
There's a lady who just got off the bus, she was saying, and she was in a panic. She was trying to run towards the parking garage over there, but my executive chef signaled her to come inside because, you know, you're hearing gunshots everywhere. You want to make sure she's safe too, so you don't want to, you know, have her getting harmed. There's another guy who was outside too, who was walking around. I'd signal him to come inside just to make sure they were safe as well. My deepest condolences go out to the wife and the family of that gentleman. I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Like, you know, they lost a hero, you know, he was trying to protect.
That loss felt by so many, and at this time there's been no word about plans for a memorial service, funeral plans, but as soon as we get that information, of course, we'll keep you updated. For now, that is the very latest live from CDC headquarters. I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Lindsay, thank you again for another look out there at CDC and seeing how the community is responding less than 48 hours after this horrible incident unfolded. We also learned that New York City is dealing with a similar kind of incident. We'll talk about that a little later on, but first I wanted to get you staying on the home front. Some video is exclusive to us here at Fox 5 Atlanta. It shows the plane crash in DeKalb County, and if you zoom in, we'll see it in just a second. You'll be able to see that there appears to be a man standing up back there, and I just want to let you know, there we go. That is one of the victims in the plane crash. And it appears that he was somehow able to get himself out of the wreck, which I mentioned before. When we got that video into the newsroom, everybody here, everybody's mouth was just, it fell open. We couldn't believe that this was something that really happened. There were 3 people involved in this particular small plane crash near the DeKalb Peachtree Airport. 2 of those victims were sent to the hospital in critical condition. This man somehow, some way, was able to stand up after the wreck while he was waiting to get out of it. He was also taken to the hospital. We don't have any word on his current condition, but it seems to me that everybody will likely make a smooth recovery. We were told that those 2 other passengers who were in the critical condition are conscious, alert, and breathing. That cause of the crash, though, is still under investigation. We're not exactly sure how something like this could have happened. I also want to let you know the FBI has put out a alert sounding the alarm for us here in the metro Atlanta area. Card skimmers are afoot. There are people out there who are putting these kind of devices where you go to pay. So maybe you just are getting ready to pump your gas and you put your card in, or you're at the ATM. You got to be really careful because somehow these people are able to put on what they're calling a card skimmer. So you put your card in and they're able to get your information. They're also able to steal your money. Now, the FBI says that they're putting together a nationwide effort right here in Metro Atlanta because apparently, by percentage, we are the most common place to find these card skimmers, and the only place that is above us is New York City. And so they want to make sure that people are aware that this type of fraud is happening. In terms of how to spot them, I'm going to be honest with you guys, it is very difficult to tell the fake readers from the real ones. So you just got to be really careful. My suggestion, if you don't mind, I know sometimes you're in a hurry and you just want to hurry up and get your gas, for example, but you could go inside the gas station and pay in person. You could also, instead of going to an ATM, if you've got a bank in the area, go inside and talk to a teller. Those are some surefire ways to make sure that you're not going to fall victim to this particular kind of crime. All right, you guys, coming back into studio, we'll be covering a lot more of these headlines, how to keep you safe, let you know some of the things that are happening around the Metro Atlanta area as well as the U.S. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to our photojournalist, Eli Jordan, who has been hanging out on the campus of Georgia Tech, meeting some of the incoming students. We'll have that in just a few minutes. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox Local. I'm Judea Murray, your host for the next hour or so. Back to school is afoot. A lot of our younger students have already started going back. I believe a couple more will be headed there this week, but our college students are important too. We learned that on Georgia Tech's campus, 4,000 students are expected to come back in. So we sent our photojournalist Eli Jordan out on campus where the first year students, right, the graduate students, and the transfers are getting ready for school. Eli, how's it going out there?
Hey, Judea is going good. School starts back August 18th. That's a week from tomorrow. And so in the meantime, between now and then, students will, be going to orientation and getting all the, books and things that they need for their classes and whatnot. And it's been really neat to see these parents, help their kids move in. There's a Lebanese poet named, his name is Khalil Gibran, And he says the parents are the bows which are bent, and the children are as living arrows, which the parents set forth. And this really, nothing really demonstrates that better than what I've been seeing today as kids are stepping out on their own for the very first time. And, their excitement, you can sense a little bit of tension with the parents, but really the kids are really excited to get this going. I think their kids are kind of like, hey, I want my parents to go on, head on home and enjoy their empty nest so I can get started. And but actually, a lot of the kids, though, are kind of sad to see their be departing from their parents and having it good at home. But for generally speaking, though, they're all stoked to get on with this new chapter in their life. And here at Georgia Tech, and what a better place to be than right in the middle of downtown Atlanta with the varsity across the connector, and you got the Falcons here and all that good stuff and all sorts of attractions. I spoke to 2 Chattahoochee High graduates earlier today as they were playing chess and Jenga, and here's what they had to say.
It's been really exciting since we're moving to college for the first time.
Yeah, we woke up and we just decided to play giant Jenga and giant chess. It's pretty chill.
So, where are you guys from?
We're from near here in Alpharetta and Johns Creek.
Yeah.
So how different is it to be, you're going to be living in Atlanta now, right on the connector across the street from, the varsity and all sorts of stuff in Midtown. It's a big change, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to most as you start your college career?
I think just the independence is really nice since we're living on our own, and on campus there's so much stuff to do since this is an engineering school. There's stuff like giant chess and giant Jenga just outside of our dorm. So I'm kind of just looking forward to doing random independent stuff on my own.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the independence and the freedom, just making new friends, I guess. Even though,
How do you think your parents are feeling today? I mean, as they brought you guys, kind of moved you guys in, I guess. Were they nervous?
I think they're just really sad and all that about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Cause we moved in yesterday, so this is probably their first day without us completely. So they're probably missing us a lot.
Do you guys have any siblings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one older sibling.
And
I have a younger brother.
So they still have one at home, but your parents are finally freed up now.
Yep.
And so I guess tell me, what's your biggest concern as you venture into, step into the great wide open now after 12 years of grade school?
It'll be interesting to figure out how to, do my own laundry and stuff like that, but also learning how to manage my classes and different work and different, experiences in college.
Yeah, pretty much we're in charge of most things now in our lives, so we gotta figure out how to be responsible and, not go crazy.
Awesome. Figure out how to be responsible and not go crazy. I still haven't figured that out yet, and I can barely do my own laundry. But I didn't go to college either, so there you go. But I think they're going to do fine. I think everybody else is going to do fine. Here on the campus of Georgia Tech, as people are moving in, and here comes some more people moving in. They got some stuff going up to their dorm rooms. Next exciting time, stepping into the unknown with the new roommates and stuff. But as I said, August 18th is when classes start, and so in the meantime they'll be going to orientation, making sure they got all the right books, and probably walking around town exploring Atlanta a little bit without their parents hanging over their shoulder telling them it's time to come home and all that stuff. Judea?
Great interview once again. I was cracking up at her saying that she was going to have to learn how to do her own laundry. See, these are the things you don't think about.
Well, I mean, I was sympathetic with her. I was like, yeah, no, it's not fun. It's hard to do. I think the hardest thing is learning the habit.
Yeah, getting into the habit so that you make sure you always have the clean clothes. I am pretty lucky where I just have so much stuff in my closet that I can get by without having to do it so often.
Or at least learn how to find your cleanest dirty shirt. So.
Wait, no, don't teach them that. Don't teach them that.
Hey, sometimes you got to, though.
Yeah, you got to make it work because you still got to get to class.
Does this smell all right? All right.
No,
Throwing
no.
some extra deodorant.
Wait, have you heard the different ways to wear your underwear? What they say, you front, back, flip it inside out, front, back. That is disgusting.
Oh, wait. No.
I thought you were about to tell me you do that. Wait a minute.
You never know when you're going to have to go to the hospital. You got to wear clean underwear.
You do.
or none.
That's what
Either
my
clean
mom
underwear or none. You can't have dirty underwear on.
No, clean underwear. But that is something that my mom told me growing up too. Always got to make sure you have clean underwear on because you never know when something's going to happen to you. You have to go to the doctor. So there you have it there.
Or you have to be on TV or whatever stuff.
Yeah, that too.
All right, I'm done here, Judea.
Good stuff, Eli. All right, we're going to come back out to him a little later on. He always cracks me up. But speaking of back to school for our college kids, Georgia colleges all around are getting ready for their first day of classes. Got together a short little list of some of the universities. UGA will have their first day on August 13th, which is right around the corner. Georgia Tech, as Eli mentioned, he was out there just a few seconds ago with us. They're starting on August 18th. Now, I keep telling you guys I went to Howard University, so I always try to make sure I mention the historically black universities and colleges. So Morehouse, Spelman, and Clark Atlanta University will be headed back on August 20th. And then Georgia State University, they're holding out a little bit. They will not be back until August 25th, but I have a feeling a lot of those new students definitely are going to be looking for things to do around the area, trying to make friends and get to know their new stomping grounds. And if you're looking for some fun stuff, you can always head to fox5atlanta.com or Fox Local to see what is going on. Now, back to school supplies, we have learned, are becoming more expensive. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was a new survey out that said most parents were nervous, and so they were doing their shopping way in advance and taking advantage of those free giveaways, and it seems like they were onto something. As it turns out, with the tariff situation that we have with the Trump administration, some of those items that you need from the list are going to run you a little bit more. So I just want to give you that alert so that you know, just in case you haven't done your shopping yet. And I'm not quite sure just how many giveaways are still available, but we did have an article on that on fox5atlanta.com. You could also head to Fox Local to look for it. It's got the free giveaways and all the events around the Metro Atlanta and North Georgia area. But speaking of things getting a little bit more expensive and talking about consumerism, I spoke to the Better Business Bureau recently, found out that apparently counterfeit Labubu dolls are on the rise. And see, what happens is if you're not familiar with these dolls, they freak me out, but other people love them. See, I can't yuck anybody's yum. It turns out that a lot of people are looking for these items, and scammers figured that this was their perfect opportunity to get in there. And so there are some fraudulent websites, fraudulent sellers out there. The Better Business Bureau sat down and spoke with us about ways that you can spot these counterfeit items and protect yourself so you don't end up giving your card information to the wrong hands. Let's take a listen.
And I know it's a huge growing trend. Everybody wants one. But when you are, for lack of better words, desperate to get something out there, you can fall victim to scams. So first of all, how many people are you seeing reporting these counterfeit items to the Better Business Bureau?
Yeah, so far, BBB's scam tracker has read that we've received over 70 reports from people who thought that they were purchasing actual Labubu dolls, but a lot of those people received counterfeit Labubu dolls, or they placed an order on a fake website and the doll never came.
Okay, now for those streaming out there who may not understand what a Labubu is, we're going to drop some images so you get a better gist of what we're talking about, this hot ticket item that everybody is looking for. But while we are talking about Labubus, counterfeit items, scams, something that could affect anybody. So could you give me a couple of tips to make sure that you can spot one and avoid it?
Yeah, of course. So I will say how you can protect yourself from these scams. There's a number of ways, and this kind of goes, for anything when you're shopping online or you're testing out a new website or you see a deal that's too good to be true. So the first thing I would say is be super cautious. We always say at BBB, and it sounds redundant, but do your research. A little bit of research goes a long way. So, search for the company's website. and go on Google and maybe put scam behind it or reviews to see if there are any warnings from people and to see what people's experiences have been outside of the website that you're buying from. You can also go to bbb.org and look up the company that you're purchasing from, and you can see, what people had different experiences, how long the company has been operating, and things of that nature. You can also see their rating, and that would give you a pretty good snapshot of whether or not the company is legit. And if it's accredited, we encourage you to buy from accredited businesses. Another thing that people kind of overlook is purchasing these items with a secure payment method, preferably credit cards, just because they offer more security rather than, paying through Cash App or Zelle, Venmo, or debit card. So always, if you're purchasing online and you can, we recommend that you use a credit card. And if you are buying from these websites and they tell you that you can pay with Cash App or Zelle or any of those platforms, I would say maybe try a new platform or maybe try a new website, because that might not be 100% legit. And then the last thing I would say is, if you type in Labubu doll and you're like, where to get it, don't click on just the first thing that you see. Like, again, that goes back to doing your research, because some people are creating fake lookalike websites and, again, like not even receiving their items.
With that, I know a lot of people, like, because this is something that's trendy, will go on like the TikTok shop or the market and, like you said, just click on that first thing that they see. But you really have to do your homework to make sure that you are safe, you're not getting scammed, and that your money is going in the right hands, that you get the product that you are asking for.
Exactly.
Now, I also want to ask you if someone out there streaming with us does realize that they have been a victim, how can they go about reporting that to the Better Business Bureau?
Yeah, so if you have been a victim of the scam or something doesn't feel right, you don't receive your item, or just something's fishy, you can report it to our BBB scam tracker. That's where all of these reports have come in that I'm reporting to you. And you can go there by typing in bbb.org/scam tracker. And, this will just help other people from becoming victims and, just getting ahead of the scams.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your insight with us, letting us know how we can go ahead and report them ourselves. I have a feeling somebody out there streaming with us is like, thank you. This is exactly what I needed. So we appreciate you for your time.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fox Local, and Alex, welcome back to the digital set.
Here we are. Time just keeps on ticking by.
It does, it does. We brought you back because we want another look at our forecast. What can you tell us this time?
Yeah, so we're still pretty much looking at much of the same from what we saw this morning, continuing into the early afternoon. A lot of low cloud cover out there and some showers. Let me show you Fox 5 Live Viper. And you see green is popping up in a handful of spots, but not in all where it is drizzly rainy right now. Some of that is sitting below where the radar beam scans. 76 now in Atlanta. That's only 3 degrees warmer than our overnight low temperature. 75 in Canton, 73 in Gainesville. So this is the map that can tell you that there is low cloud cover around, even without having to see the low cloud cover across the area. Already close to 80, but not quite there in Eatonton. So here's what we've got in terms of rain chances. We've got this 20% chance of rain really for the remainder of the rest of the afternoon, but then tomorrow that's going to be up to 40%. Not only for the afternoon, but for the morning and into the evening as well. I think there could be some wet bus stops in the morning. There could be some wet recess hours. There could be some wet bus stops in the afternoon. There could be some wet football practices. There could be wet everything at times tomorrow. But that's not to say that everybody's going to see rain. That's going to be, the sporadic. It's not necessarily the summertime pattern, but it's going to look like that when all is said and done, minus the storm parts. It's just kind of scattered showers for your Monday afternoon. But for today, look, I would say get outside and enjoy it. The sun might not be out, but there's still plenty of things to do when the sun's not out across the area. And even then, you will see some peaks of sunshine a little later on this afternoon as we soar towards a high temperature near 84, 85 in Canton, 82 in Gainesville, 83 in Blairsville, 82 in Athens and in Eatonton. The warm spot's going to be Northwest Georgia again at 88. But don't get used to it. I've been saying that for a while. Summer is still very much here, and it is going to remind us of that by the end of the week. 88 for Wednesday, 89 on Thursday, up to 90 by the time we get to Friday, and that is going to come with that summertime pattern really beginning to build back in. That chance of storms each and every day really beginning Thursday and Saturday. Worth noting that for Monday and Wednesday, I have just showers. I'm not really looking at much in the way of storm activity those days. It's going to be more of a transitional time for us back into the summertime pattern.
Got you. So really the only thing you're going to need is your umbrella, maybe a raincoat?
Yep, something like that. No arc.
I was thinking about galoshes, but yeah. You won't need those arc. Good stuff. Alex, thank you for giving us another look at our forecast. I will come back out with you a little later on in the show. But I wanted to pop out to our reporter, Lindsay Tuman. She has been at the CDC where, as you may recall, there was that deadly shooting just a couple of days ago. You've got a live, or excuse me, not a live look. This was a look on Friday when mayhem really rang out in Atlanta, in DeKalb County more specifically. This happened near Emory University. It took place at a CVS. But our Lindsay Tuman, our reporter who's out there at the CDC right now, can give us a much better run through of everything that happened and where they're standing today with the memorial and whatnot. Lindsay?
Yes, Judea, and right now what we've seen is more people coming out to this memorial, which is right here on the corner. You can see a few people gathered and a large sign just went up. This is for a fallen officer from DeKalb County, David Rose. He was only 33 years old, graduated from the DeKalb County Police Academy in March as the team leader, where he spoke about his commitment to public service and doing what he could to protect his community, which is certainly what we saw in his heroic actions on Friday during that active shooter situation. Before he served with the DeKalb County Police Department, he spent 4 years with the United States Marine Corps, again echoing that true public service dedication that he had. We've also learned in the last 24 hours a bit more about the person that GBI says is responsible for this active shooter situation, which resulted in a number of bullets actually being fired at CDC headquarters across the street. We saw some video and images of that as well. But we learned that the GBI has named the person responsible as 30-year-old Patrick David White from Kennesaw. And from his neighbors, we learned that he was upset about the COVID-19 vaccine and believed it caused an illness. His father also stated that he had recently become fixated on the vaccine and was upset about the passing of his dog. Another neighbor told us that they saw investigators come out to the White's home in Kennesaw at around 11:30 Friday night and stayed through the early morning hours. This has certainly been shocking for those in the community who witnessed this gunfire and also those who knew White and were surprised to hear about his involvement.
I've seen him walk around the neighborhood. Seemed like a okay guy. I mean, communicated with him a few times. I know he did work for my grandfather around the house, like blowing leaves, cutting the grass, stuff like that. But I didn't really know him too much to comment on his character. But from what I've seen outside the house, he seems like a okay guy. I don't know what his motive would have been. I don't know if he knows anybody up there. Maybe did him wrong. I couldn't tell you that, but just from what I know about him, he seemed like an alright guy.
Now, there's certainly a lot of disbelief in the community for everyone involved in this, and there's still a lot to be left uncovered. GBI has not commented about a possible motive in this case. I do want to mention that Atlanta police say White was found dead at the CVS. That was also where they believe the gunfire originated, right at Emory Point across from the CDC. They do believe that he was the only suspect in this case as well. But there's still a lot that remains under investigation, and the GBI is the lead investigator in the case. And at this time, there is no word about a potential public memorial or any funeral plans for Officer Rose. As soon as we get those details, of course, we'll keep you updated. But in the meantime, people are coming out to this area to continue to pay their respects and certainly acknowledge the very courageous and heroic life of Officer Rose, who will certainly be missed in the law enforcement community and well beyond. Reporting live from outside CDC headquarters, I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Lindsay, great job today recouping the story for us, going over all of the information that we need to know. Like I told you before, our streaming audience is extremely interested in this and how it will continue to unfold. So we appreciate you and your time out there at the CDC. Now, you guys, unfortunately, there was also a shooting similar. It seemed like a similar situation out in New York City. If we can get you a live look of New York City, there you see it right there. But just earlier, we found out that a 17-year-old had been arrested, detained in a Times Square shooting, which is, as you can imagine, a very popular place to be. Police tell us that gunfire erupted in the what was supposed to be a gun-free zone near the intersection of 44th Street and 7th Avenue. It happened just feet from the Hard Rock Cafe and Carmine's Italian restaurant. Those are really known spots out there in the city in Manhattan. Now, this happened around 1:20 a.m. and it sent people running for cover. Again, very busy spots. Even though it's 1:20 a.m., I can tell you, being a New Yorker myself, a lot of people are still out even that early in the morning or that late at night, however you want to view it. We learned that an 18-year-old woman and two men who were 19 and 65 were injured in that shooting. Supposedly, this all started as a dispute or some type of argument between two people, although authorities have not told us what led up to the argument. The teen suspect, that 17-year-old, was taken into custody, but so far no charges have been filed. We're looking to see if that changes in the time being. But speaking of, violence and gun safety, some of our local leaders are trying to do what they can to make sure that these firearms don't end up in the wrong hands. So out in Clayton County, the police department decided to hold a gun lockbox giveaway for Clayton County residents. Now, this operated on a first-come, first-served basis, but it was a giveaway. Everything was free. The police department says that gun safes are important for reducing the risk of accidents and misuse, and ensuring the responsible gun ownership. Only the person who owns the gun can access it. We spoke to Chief Kevin Roberts, who has a little more insight on the event. Let's take a listen.
Understand that we can't be a successful community without having the collaboration of our district attorney's office, our police department, and our citizens. And we're working together to keep everyone safe.
And DeKalb County had a similar idea. Over in DeKalb County, the police department also held a gun safe giveaway. Now, these safes were available for free at any DeKalb County police precinct, and county officials said that more than 400 people showed up to bring one home. So obviously, this is something that people are looking for. Maybe they don't necessarily know that they can have one, or they see it as an expensive option, but this is something that can keep you, your family, your loved ones, those around you safe, so that, you know, these firearms don't end up in the wrong hands like children or any other vulnerable population. The only thing that you needed to do in order to receive a safe was you had to be 21 years old, you had to own a gun legally, and live in DeKalb County. Now, we spoke to Officer Elise Wells, who gave us a little more information on why this giveaway was important to the police department.
This has actually been a program that we have been doing for 3 years now. It started in 2022 after we saw a slight uptick in stolen guns from vehicles. So to sort of combat that, we started giving out free gun safes to the community, and that started back in 2022. Today was just another push where we try to encourage citizens to actually store their guns safely.
Now, we have now entered the noon hour. Thank you so much for joining us on this stream. We are going to continue talking about that deadly CDC shooting, but we are going to get you a quick break. When we come back, we'll go more into depth for you. Hello guys, welcome back to Fox Local. I'm Judea Murray. You were just taking a live look at the CDC where we learned a deadly shooting rang out on Friday. We're going to get you more information about that incident, but first I want to get you a look at your forecast with Fox Storm Team meteorologist Alex Forbes. He's on standby for us. Alex, what's going on in the skies?
Yeah, Judea, we're looking at some cloud cover. We're also looking at some showers. And to be completely honest with you, I just went and looked at the satellite settings. I promise you, there is cloud cover out there. I can see it. So we got to figure that one out. But we are looking at some showers as well as temperatures continue to climb now. Not all that dramatically. We've only made it from 73 earlier this morning to 76 now in Atlanta, 78 in Covington, 77 in Eatonton. Into the evening hours, we're going to hang on to these mostly cloudy skies for the next little bit. But then we'll see some peaks of sunshine. Not a lot, just some through the evening hours. Sunset tonight is at 8:21 with temperatures falling back down into the 70s. We're just about an hour and a half away from first pitch for the Braves. It'll be pretty nice for them as well. Just that slim 20% chance of rain. If you do happen to catch a shower, it will be short-lived. Not really looking for much of an impact from that. But do notice that through the overnight hours, they're not going to entirely go to bed. We are going to be looking at this continuing into the Monday time frame. There's Monday at the noon hour. This is that same rain that's down in the Savannah area right now over in eastern Georgia. So maybe steady at times, but that really falls apart as it tries to move into metro Atlanta. But not completely. We're still left with the scattered showers here Monday at 4 o'clock. On into Tuesday here. Going to be looking for, you guessed it, more overnight showers, particularly on the eastern side of the state. Some of these could have some locally heavy downpours before we get into the afternoon hours, and maybe we're mixing in a couple of storms across north and central Georgia. 84 here in the city today, 83 in Alpharetta, 81 in Lawrenceville, 82 in Snellville and in Conyers, 85 in Kennesaw. Down on the south side, 80 in Eatonton, 81 in Jackson, 83 in Peachtree City, and 84 over in Franklin. Up on the north side, this is where you get into the low 80s and 70s, with the exception of northwest Georgia. They're going to be able to get a couple degrees warmer today. Tonight, how about an overnight low temperature of 71, 70 in Lawrenceville, 71 in Conyers, 72 in Kennesaw, and 70 over in Dallas. Here is your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. A better chance of rain tomorrow at 40%, and then maybe mixing in some storms there on Tuesday, also at 40%. And then here comes the heat once again. It's not oppressive heat. It's just normal mid-August heat with a high temperature of 90 by the time we get to Friday. Maybe feeling a couple degrees warmer than that thanks to the humidity. Judea?
Alex, again, thank you for a look at our forecast. I do think we're going to come back out with you a little later on in the stream just to, make sure we end things on the right note, let people know what the weather's going to be like and how they can plan for the rest of their afternoons. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, coming back into studio, you guys, we have been covering this deadly CDC shooting. I want to make sure that I get you the most up-to-date information now that we are in our noon hour. So starting with a growing memorial outside of the CDC, we had our Lindsay Tooman, our reporter, out there a little while ago. She said that there were plenty of flowers being built up, or piles of flour building up. We also heard there were cards. The victim that everybody is mourning is DeKalb County Police Officer David Rose. You're looking at him on your screen right there. We found out that he had only joined the DeKalb County Police Department as of 2024 and had graduated from the police academy just in March. He graduated the team leader, and so he gave a beautiful speech at the ceremony. We're going to just get you a small snippet of that speech. Take a listen.
We wanted to be part of something greater than ourselves. We wanted to wear the badge, not for the sake of a title, but for the responsibility that comes with it. And responsibility is exactly what this job demands. From the very first day, we learned that policing isn't just about enforcing the law. It's about protecting the vulnerable, standing for justice, and being the person who runs towards danger when others run away.
Danger when others run away. That is exactly what Officer Rose did, and what so many of our officials have been, heralding him as a hero over. So, I'm sorry, the other information that I wanted to get you out to you about this situation, we talked to some business owners in the Emory Point area. They told us that when those shots rang out, and we did find out that a couple of bullets did hit CDC windows at the headquarters here in Atlanta, when those shots rang out, they not only were, as you would imagine, scared, worried for themselves, but they saw that there were patrons on the road, out there on the sidewalk, and so they ushered them in to make sure that they would be safe and out of harm's way. We also, like I said, spoke to some of those people. Let's get a soundbite from one of them.
A lady who just got off the bus, she was saying, and she was in a panic. She was trying to run towards the parking garage over there, but my executive chef signaled her to come inside because, you're hearing gunshots everywhere. You want to make sure she's safe too, so you don't want to, have her getting harmed. There's another guy who was outside too, who was walking around. I'd signal him to come inside just to make sure they were safe as well. My deepest condolences go out to the wife and the family of that gentleman. I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Like, they lost a hero. He was trying to protect.
They did lose a hero. and we learned that the community is in full mourning for him. DeKalb County Police and other officials, these buildings, have lowered their flags in honor of the fallen officer. We're still waiting to hear on any memorial services or anything about any vigils. We haven't heard anything just yet, but you can trust that as soon as we do, you can find that information on fox5atlanta.com or check in the Fox Local app. We may have that update there for you. Meanwhile, Georgia officials are also mourning the officer. We got a statement from Mayor Andre Dickens. He's the Atlanta mayor, and I want to make sure that I get this out to you. It's just an excerpt, a small piece of a much larger statement he sent us here at Fox 5 Atlanta. He said, Officer Rose bravely responded to the active shooter incident on Emory's campus and lost his life while protecting so many others. We grieve alongside his family. My heart goes out to the entire DeKalb County government and police department. Officer Rose's passing is a stark reminder that every day, law enforcement officers put themselves in harm's way to protect others, and this dedication deserves our respect and gratitude. We also heard from Georgia's governor, Brian Kemp. This was on X. He posted formerly known as Twitter, and it says, twice this week, deranged criminals have targeted innocent Georgians, and each time, brave first responders rushed toward the danger to subdue the shooter and save lives, reminding us of just how crucial they are. So Marty and the girls and I are thankful for all those who answer the call to serve and who protect their fellow Georgians. We ask that you join us in holding them in our prayers, along with those harmed this evening near the CDC Center. At the top of his statement, he said that twice this week, deranged criminals have targeted innocent Georgians. That other incident we are still learning more about, but it took place at Fort Stewart. We learned more about the man accused in that particular shooting. So this is 28-year-old Army Sergeant Cornelius Radford that you just saw on your screen there. He's been booked into the Liberty County Jail, accused of opening fire at Fort Stewart on Wednesday, injuring 5 of his fellow soldiers. Now, Radford will be tried by the Army Office of Special Trial Counsel. Thankfully, we learned that those soldiers are all expected to survive. Now, so far, there's been no clear motive for the attack. Here at Fox 5 Atlanta, we haven't confirmed a motive, but the New York Times suggests that he had sent a goodbye text to his aunt just moments before opening fire. The New York Times is also reporting that he was bullied in 2018, allegedly over a stutter. As far as we know, the Army officials who knew Radford said they didn't see any sort of warning sign. Unfortunately, that is all too common in situations like this. Bringing it back into studio, coming up, we are going to get out to our photojournalist Eli Jordan, who has been on the campus of Georgia Tech talking to some of the students as they gear up for back to school. A lot of Georgia's colleges and universities will be starting up for their first day of classes either this week or coming up. We'll have more on that when we come back. guys, welcome back to Fox Local. I'm Judea Murray. I'm gonna read through some of our comments on YouTube. If you guys are streaming with us on YouTube, now would be the time to pop in and say something a little extra so we can shout you out. But I do want to thank the people who have been here pretty much all stream, especially big shout out to Crazy Mike 007. He has been very, very active in our chat. Now, if you are watching us on Fox Local app, maybe even streaming with us on fox5atlanta.com/live, or maybe you're in the car listening with us, you may not know that we do have a chat option available for you. You can talk back with us, ask questions, and sometimes that's how we get information out to our reporters. I remember last week while we were live streaming, there was someone in the chat who let us know about some breaking news. Granted, we hadn't confirmed it just yet, but it was good for us to know. That way we could go back to our officials, get that confirmed, and then get it out to you on the news. It was somebody who had been in the area. So it's a great way to stay up to date with us, to make sure that we're talking back to you. It's some of the highlights of the comment section. Of course, we have been talking about the deadly CDC shooting with Officer Rose there, and so a couple of people popped in just to say their condolences, rest in peace. They commented on the beautiful speech that he gave when he graduated from the police academy. And then we also talked about skimmers in Metro Atlanta and how the FBI is trying to warn people against putting your credit card, your debit card into these fraudulent devices. Yeah, we got a look up there on the screen for you. Some people have been putting their cards in, lo and behold, it is not a real reader. And so that's how scammers have been able to steal information and steal your money. Apparently Atlanta, the Metro Atlanta area, is actually #2 in terms of like the whole nation on the most common places to find these kinds of card skimmers. So they're just letting people know that they're out there. Be careful. My suggestion would be, if you can get around using them. So for example, if you're out pumping gas, maybe you can go into the gas station if you have some extra time and talk to a worker instead of putting your information into that machine. If you're at the ATM, maybe if you have a bank in the area, you can talk to a teller instead to get your deposit. But I understand the convenience of things, but sometimes that's how scammers get you. It's convenient. We were also talking about the weather here in the Metro Atlanta area, North Georgia, across our meteorologist let us know that we were seeing some sprinkles and a little light drizzle. Well, someone let us, we asked what you would rather have, and in our comment section, people said they actually preferred the rain over the hot sun. I think Alex and I agreed on that one with you guys. And then again, we have more prayers for the fallen officer. Again, just thank you so much for communicating with us. This talk back is really important. This is how we understand what's important to you guys, so we can make sure we're getting you the information that you really truly care about. All right, and with that, we do have our photojournalist who's been out in Georgia Tech. But before we go to him, I want to paint the picture for you. Georgia universities and colleges are on their way back to school. A couple of them are actually going to have their first classes coming up soon. Actually, I put together a nice little list in case you're interested, because this also probably means there are going to be more people in the metro area. So if you think that it's hard to get around on those highways and byways, you ain't seen nothing yet. So UGA will be going back to school as of August 13th. Georgia Tech will be going back to school as of August 18th. I went to Howard University, so I always have to rep for the historically black colleges and universities. Morehouse, Spelman, Clark Atlanta University will be back on August 20th, and then Georgia State University will be back on August 25th. And we were also talking about school supplies, because just a couple of weeks ago, we had a survey that we told you guys about that suggested that parents were buying their school supplies a lot earlier because they were in fear of the tariffs driving up prices, and maybe they were onto something, because as it turns out, back to school supplies are more expensive. Whether you're looking for pens or you're looking for polos, it might run you a little bit more. My suggestion, on fox5atlanta.com and the Fox Local app, we do have a list, a roundup of giveaways that you can check out. Some events are still pending. We did have a couple of events in August, even though a lot of our students were back to school at the end of July and early August. So you might find something in your area that benefits you, your children, or if you're in college, like I said, it'll benefit you instead. But as I said, our Eli Jordan has been out on the campus of Georgia Tech, where 4,000 students are back to school, excited, some of them going to college for the first time. Eli, who have you gotten to talk to today?
Hey. Today I'm on the campus, Georgia Tech, the Rambling Wreck, the Yellow Jackets, Bobby Dodge Stadium right behind me, and some freshmen are actually going to be able to see some good football. Pretty good football. ACC is not a bad conference to be in. They get to play Miami, Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina. But anyways, 4,000 freshmen, some transfer students, some grad students, but mainly freshmen are being moved in today. A week from tomorrow, school starts, so they're getting settled in now. Give them a week to, get their, orientation going and learn the rules, learn, who's cool and who's not cool, and what professors are cool and what professors are not cool. But the big thing, though, are parents having to deal with, letting go of their children, setting them off on their own for the first time. And I spoke to a couple of parents who drove all the way down here from Ohio. Let's see what they had to say. Like to see your child kind of head out into the great wide open?
Well, I think it's mixed feeling for us as parents. See my first one's going to college. She's she's graduating from high school, but she's excited. She's looking forward to the future, I think. So, so chemical engineering, is what she like, and Georgia Tech has a good reputation. I think she's so excited so far.
We're all excited.
Yeah, we're excited for her, and so
excited and nervous.
yeah, it's
a little nervous?
Yeah, a little nervous, but it's not. I'm not too worried about it. I think she will get it. Yeah.
What's the biggest concern you have for your daughter here?
I think get used to be as independent adult now, as young adult. So she need to learn how to work with people, work with her peer students, faculties, and I think that's. I think she get it to that. Yeah.
Awesome. And so, I mean, this is a big deal. This is like the first big adult moment for the children heading off, especially the freshmen.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time they've been out on their own. What do you think is the biggest concern amongst parents, total, overall?
I think as a girl, young adult girl, so I think my concern is she need to get used to. I don't worry about her academics, so I'm not worried about her regular, people skills either. So I think for her, living in a big city now, so pay attention to safety, securities, and also when she grew up and go through the freshman, sophomore, junior years, she can, learn how to work with all kinds of people.
I learn with work with all kinds of people. That's what's really cool about college. I mean, we're in our own little bubble when we're in grade school, high school, but then when we get off to college, there's people from all over the world there. Even though I didn't go to college, I did work on a college campus for quite some time, and it is definitely a cool place to be. I mean, where you see all sorts of different minds, different thoughts, and it does broaden your perspective a whole lot. I was actually in a band in the college town I was in, and I jammed and got to participate in a lot of campus events and things like that. So I'm not completely ignorant about what goes on college campuses and all that. It's a great thing, and I know a lot of parents are kind of nervous because, I mean, we all are. I'm a parent myself, and we're all we get nervous when we send our kids out, and hopefully they'll adult all right. But that's what the scene is here of Georgia Tech. Parents dropping the kids off, getting ready to start a new life here in downtown Atlanta, and they're gonna have a good time. Good football, good foods around here. They get to have all sorts of great experiences and a good education too. Because Georgia Tech has produced 14 astronauts, one that's even walked on the moon. So you can't go wrong with getting an education here. Judea, how you doing?
Eli, thank you again for that insight. Good stuff. Georgia Tech is a great school. I actually, just so you know, I'm joined now with our meteorologist, Alex Forbes, because we've been talking about the weather, and we were just wondering, how has it been out there that you see, like, the parents? Is it drizzling? Or is it sunny?
You know, it hasn't drizzled too much. Earlier this morning, it's been drizzling a bit. On my way into work, it drizzled a good bit. I came up from Locust Grove, and this is about 7 this morning. I had to put on the wipers on regular speed. But then out here, though, the past 3 hours, it hasn't been drizzling at all. It's just been a nice little breeze, well overcast, and about 75 degrees out here, something like that. But there hasn't been any wet weather at all. Maybe in the first hour, about 9 o'clock, there was a little bit of a spit and mist. But right now, there's nothing at all. It's nice and dry and just overcast. It's rather pleasant.
Yeah, I think the parents moving in will take this any year over the other compared to the 90-degree temperatures that we could see this type of year.
And you know what's interesting? Next to the dorms, there are big piles of bottled water because I think, past experience at Georgia Tech's like, it's going to be hot. We need to bring lots of water for the parents and the kids. It's hardly touched today. They're still there. I mean, there's lots of water left. So that just, it's indicative of, what the weather's been like today. Not much water has been drunk at all.
See, now here's the college student thing. When they get a little smarter, they'll learn. When you see free bottles of water, you just take the whole pack. Put that in the dorm. But good stuff, Eli. Thank you so much for talking to us a little bit more about move-in day. Like I said, thousands of students are getting out there. Alex, do you remember when you moved into college?
It wasn't that long ago. Yeah. So that would have been 2017 for me. And I went to school in Mississippi, and it was very hot that day. But I mentioned it earlier. They had it down to a science. They were like unloading cars in buckets and like pushing it inside. So we were not outside for very long, which was probably for the better.
Yeah, no, that's right. At Howard University, we also had those volunteers, so it was a quick process. But I do remember being out on the, it has been a minute for me, the quad. No, the yard. Being out there on the yard, it was baking us.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that you do to really get, introduce welcome into the university.
Right. We had the drill field at Mississippi State, which is, so it was a field with buildings surrounding all sides, and a lot of times you had to walk back and forth between your classes there. And it was hot most of the time in August, September, April, May, just like all of the warm months, it was really hot there. Speaking of hot, let's get one last check of your 7-day forecast here. We're going to be looking for temperatures warming up, 89 for Thursday, 90 there on Friday, looking for a 30 and 40% chance of rain each afternoon. I think Tuesday can feature some storms as well as Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Monday and Wednesday, not so much, but of course, we'll keep an eye on it. And of course, we're going to have updates for you tonight on Fox Local. Meteorologist Greg Majeski will be here tracking the latest on the potential tropical mischief out there in the Atlantic.
Good stuff, Alex. We'll keep this, we'll pop that back up real quick. We're going to end out on that 7-day just so you know what you can expect for the rest of the week. Thank you guys for joining us on the stream.